somebody run around this church. Don't play them chords. Them chords gonna make somebody lose their mind. This is my season of grace and favor.
This is my season to reap what I have sown.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Tyron Joe here, and I am excited to be here, and I want to be the first to welcome you to 2022 calendar year, and also Black History Month 2022. I just want to make a few quick announcements to be out of your way. One of our things for this year is be a friend and not a twin. We must seek to stop the matching of energies and to understand why things happen. Also, this year, what we're doing is having conversations with the clergy. You're not going to want to miss that. Many of you have expressed your concerns with the way the church, the modern day church, is being ran, and not just where it's being ran, but just understanding salvation. So therefore, I went on ahead and said what we're going to do is go ahead and have some clergymen, have preachers and pastors that may be able to offer any type of help to talk to us and to walk us through some of these things. So look for that throughout the whole year 2022. At any given moment, we'll have a preacher come on and interview with us. Also, February 14th this year, got a little something special for you. One woman, one man that's not a panelist, that's not a commentator of the show, but just maybe an individual that supports the show, individual that watched the show. We would like for you to hit our inbox here at on Instagram at BZNZ Talk and let us know that you would like to go on a date. And what we're going to do, we're going to have you come onto the show, interview with us. Also, we're going to have you go out on a date because we want you to come on the show to see if you're compatible, and then have you go out on a date and then come back and interview with us again and switch it up a little bit. I said at first I was going to pay for the date, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to contribute a nice amount to the date. That's what I'll do. So hopefully someone will take me up on that offer. Also, merch. Get you some merch. Just tell me your size and what color t-shirt you want, and we will get that to you. Just hit up my Instagram inbox, and we will take care of you. Leave you with this, and that is to do not reason with the season, but accept it and live in it. Peace be blessed. Peace be blessed.
They're not ready. I see you, Brian. You might as well come on down here and join the party.
That's right. This is my season for grace, for favor, to reap what I have sown. You know what? I normally have my video. Hold on one second. Let me do something real quick. I normally have my video, my introduction video, but you know what? Time is of the essence. And we're not gonna play that. We're not gonna play that one. We're not gonna play that one right yet. Time is of the essence, but I like to welcome you to the BZNZ Internet Talk Radio Show. Come on now, grace and favor. That's what we're gonna reap. We're gonna reap that this year, 2022. You know, a lot of people say this is my year. They say that every year. But the question is, do you really mean it? Or you just regurgitate something that you heard? Okay, so tonight time is of the essence. That's why I don't want to belabor the moment. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go right ahead and bring in our first guest. And oh, I need some music. There we go. All right, we're gonna bring in our first guest. And while I get this ready, I'm gonna put this picture on the screen. While I get this ready so I can read off this press release. I mean, this right here had me going, so I'm gonna go ahead and read it. All right. Myra Cassidy, the award-winning writer, motivational speaker, and travel advisor, is hosting a luxurious women's empowerment retreat. Women's empowerment retreat this September to support survivors of domestic violence and raising awareness. Myra is an Indianapolis native who sadly endured a relationship for nearly 18 years where physical, emotional, mental, and sexual violence persisted. However, with the combination of faith, resilience, hard work, and her ability to rediscover self-worth, she was able to break free and reclaim her identity. This year, this retreat will consist of fellow survivors and supporters sharing their own personal stories and resources. Attendees will be given tools to help them advance their self-identity and self-worth. Since this is not a traditional group booking, Myra is in need of $3,000 in advance to solidify a hold and marketing on the much desired hotel, the Alexander. How will Myra raise the funds? By creating a fun activity to raise cash flow. Like many survivors, Myra had to break off ties with family members and friends to have a healthy environment where she could heal and be safe. This included leaving the faith she grew up in because of their teaching that a spouse should not divorce unless it's extreme physical abuse. Although Myra experienced such abuse, sadly, she was disciplined for divorcing and yet still followed the practice instilled in her to remain unmarried or else be reconciled with the mate. Such a Christian is not free to pursue a third party with a view to remarry. Myra is now free to date. However, it has been about 4 years since she has gone out or had male companionship. Therefore, she is using this as an opportunity to raise funds from February 20th to March 31st. Myra, with support from Regina Warren, director of the 360 Model Boot Camp, has created Who Wants to Take Myra on a Date. The 360 Model Boot Camp is building confidence through modeling skills, preparing Myra for her first date after 4 years. Myra is looking for donations to be submitted via PayPal or Cash App from interested gentlemen who would like to participate. The interested party will be sent a release to sign. The gentleman who donates the most will be able to take Myra on a date from the proceeds collected. Sponsors are also welcome and encouraged. Please view the following video here to see the space desired. I do not have that video. Myra is respectfully asking for you to share this content with your network and or media channel. I don't have the video, but maybe we plan on having Myra back next week, so I'll have that video then. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let us bring on our guest, Miss Myra Cassidy. But I want to say this though, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, do not leave. I know a lot of you came here for the pastors, Pastor Larry Bates and Pastor Lionel Rush. Don't leave. They are coming on. They'll be on around 8:30. Don't leave. Don't go nowhere. Miss Myra Cassidy, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey,
Uh-oh.
hey, hey.
How you doing?
Can
Let
you
me
hear
see
me,
you.
T?
I can hear you and I can see you.
All right, all right. Well, thank you so much for having me on your show today. I
You are
appreciate
welcome.
that.
You are welcome. So I had a whole bunch of questions. Well, wow, like it's been 4 years. So I mean, how do you feel right now about that? It's been, I mean, being that this year gonna be the first year back into the dating pool.
Oh man. Like you said, 2022 is gonna be my year. Let me say that. But you know what? Specifically, but specifically, what I'm trying to do is really just make this about one date. I just want to go out one time and have a really, really nice time because I held to the beliefs that were instilled in me that even though I was in this abusive situation, or let me say, I take all donations, male, female. The date's just going to be with the male, but all donations is great. And also, I'm looking for sponsorship too. Sponsors are welcome. I even have a sponsor package as well. But basically, the whole concept is for it to be just one date to go out and enjoy myself, make it kind of like an auction. But really, I hope people get that it's more about the principle. Now, I do, because I do need some funds up front to confirm this space for this women's empowerment retreat that I'm going to be doing September of this year. So yeah, I absolutely do need those funds, $3,000 I have to raise, and wanted to do something creative to make that happen. But I was really, really irritated when I found out that, oh, okay, after I've been following these principles instilled in me since, my youth, that, oh, now I'm free to marry, especially the way I found out about it, T, was really disrespectful. Like my
Mm.
kids came home and told me, hey, mom, out the blue, my kids come home, dad's getting engaged in spring. And I go, oh, okay. Well, you know what? I told them as long as she treats you guys nice, that's mama's biggest concern. But I'm thinking to myself, now, wait a minute now, with the way we have done this, because he and I, long story short, I was raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and that's the faith that I walked away from. And in the faith of Jehovah's Witnesses, when you divorce, you're still married in God's eyes. So even though I had told, and that's my story in my book, Let Me Tell It, is available on Amazon. It tells my journey dealing with domestic violence within a Christian community. But for my journey, over the years of my marriage, 11 years of my marriage, I had told over a dozen elders that I was being physically abused and I wasn't being heard. So when I finally divorced, I was disciplined for that. And he wasn't. But the discipline that I received was that, basically not the discipline that I received, but the standard practice within the faith of Jehovah's Witnesses, that when you're divorced by the law of the land, you're still married in God's eyes, right? So, at some point, it's like either you get back together or you don't. Well, this is domestic violence, right? So it's, highly unlikely that that was going to happen. You know what I mean? Of course, I knew that, and I'm trying to be safe for my children and myself, but yet I made sure that I followed that teaching and even that biblical teaching from the standpoint, of making sure that I did not allow, a man in my life to look at for marriage or to date for 4 years. So to find out that, oh, wait a minute, you're getting married. I'm like, okay, well, let me go ahead and use this opportunity kind of to raise awareness, to talk about principle and being a woman of character, but to also raise the funds that I need, because I want to confirm this space for September, and thought this could be a creative way of doing this, and came up with the idea of who wants to take Myra on a date, got with Regina Warren of the 360 Model Bootcamp to help give me a little bit of skills and different things that I can use in this process. And that's kind of how you have it in the point of what I'm trying to do. So definitely taking any donations, of course, sponsorships. Yes, I have sponsorship packages, but trying to raise the funds to book the Alexander for this women's empowerment retreat to talk about, to support survivors of domestic violence, bring self-awareness, resources, and hear from other survivors like myself during this event.
Now, Myra, before I let you go, I got to say this. Now, you know, you can't come on a podcast looking like that and just saying, well, it's only about going on one date. Now, whoever the lucky man is that gets to get a chance to take you out on the date, you know, he gonna want to do part 2, part 3. You know, he gonna want to do all that. I gotta take you on the second one. I gotta take you on the third one. Come on now, Myra.
We'll see. We'll see. But you know what? Seriously, I mean, well, you just never know what can happen, right? I've heard other people say that. I've heard other people say, you know what? This may actually be an opportunity for you to find that healthy relationship and that guy that you're supposed to be with. Well, you know what? I don't know. Maybe, right? But it'll be an understanding that, you know what, I have children and they've been through so much. So I have to create a sense of stability for them. So if that person is going to be patient and we can be friends and go from there, you know, it doesn't have to be, a sprint. We can, just, don't take it slow. We'll see.
I had a question though. Okay. You said that, let me see, as I was reading, you said you endured a relationship for nearly 18 years where physical, emotional, mental, and sexual violence persisted. I just wanted clarity. What did you mean by sexual violence?
Good question. And actually, no one's ever expounded upon that. Well, different things are involved with the sexual violence. Different things as far as even in the points. Now, I ended up marrying the individual. I got involved very, very young at the age of 15 with this individual. But there's especially one of the most powerful moments in my early teenage years, which, I've now been able to express that in words and things like that through some literature that I'm doing, and even a piece that I have booked for April. But basically being 16 years old and being told that, if you love me, you're going to do this. You know what I mean? And then doing that. Or sometimes when you don't want to and you're being, forced to, you know what I mean? Let's just say forced to, that's exactly what it was. So having those things happen within my teenage years and early, adulthood life was difficult, especially within the faith of Jehovah's Witnesses. I was disfellowshipped when I was 17. I got disfellowshipped at 17. I was pregnant. So I was disfellowshipped 3 years, 5 months, and 1 day. And in order for me to come back to that faith, you have to be morally clean for an extended period of time. Well, I can't do that if you're playing with my mind. And also if you are making me feel like I have to because we have children together, or there's different situations that actually got pretty intense during that time where it was very, very clear that, no, I don't want to do this, and being overpowered to do it. So that's the sexual violence we're talking about. You know what I mean? And it's interesting because when you look at that, you go, can I claim that because I still married him in the end? But it's like, it still happened. It still happened. And that's still violence. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's something that I had one thing I really had a question about. But I'm gonna bring John in and see if he got anything to say, and then we up out of here.
Okay. Big John.
Hey, how y'all doing? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How you doing, Myra?
I'm good. Long time no see.
Long time no see. Hey, I just wanted to ask you, with the situation that you went through, how did it make you feel as far as your faith, with you telling people, hey, this is something negative that's going on with me, and they're saying, well, no, you're the one that's wrong, instead of you getting the help and the nurturing that you wanted. How did that make you feel as far as your faith?
It's still hard, honestly, because I mean, you just feel like your heart is crushed. You feel like your heart is crushed. You know, this is all, I mean, growing up as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I loved it, you know, and I wanted the help, and I wanted him to get the help. And when I first started telling these at first I felt like I shouldn't say anything because I was a teenager who had sinned, and I felt like I didn't have a right to complain in my marriage. But after the first 2 years, the abuse was so horrible, I couldn't help but to do something to tell. So for that very first meeting that I had with those elders, for them to tell me that I need to be more submissive, for it to be downplayed, crushed my spirit for sure. And to go through that routine over and over and over again was just so heart-wrenching, especially when I look at how the situation ended now. And I look at the fact that he was 25 years of age when I first told what had happened. He is now 40. Now, if someone would have got in there and really helped, then our marriage more than likely could have been saved. But when I'm talking to over a dozen elders and even telling them, look, I'm going to domestic women's counseling services, and you could even have the proof of the notes if you want it, and just not being heard, I really can't describe the pain. You know, I'm not talking bad about the faith of Jehovah's Witnesses. I always want to say that because I encourage my children to follow that practice. I just can't, because it wasn't safe for me. So it's really it's excruciating pain is the way I would describe it. Because especially when it's something that you're putting so much faith in and effort in, and and people dangle it like it's your salvation, you have to relearn some things and understand that God knows his people no matter what you believe. No matter what you believe, God knows his people, so it's gonna be okay. But it's tough, especially because I was a third generation witness. So that means I had to leave my mom and my dad I don't have a relationship with. My grandma, I haven't seen her in 2 years. It's tough. It is very tough. And still to be able to be supportive of my children. So, I mean, I cannot even really describe the pain. It's really agonizing and excruciating. And I have to continue to build myself up and just trust that God knows if he sees everything. So I'm going to be okay.
All right.
Right on.
Absolutely. Anything else, John?
Yeah. Do you have any older brothers or sisters?
Woo, good question. Good question. I don't have any sisters. I have brothers. I have 2 older and 1 younger. Sadly, my oldest brother was a victim of violence himself. So sometimes I think about that, like, why didn't I get protected? And it's like, well, my oldest brother, he was a victim himself. And growing up, I didn't have female cousins either. It was always me and the boys. So it was basically me, my brothers, and my cousins who were all witnesses. And I was the only girl. So I think that's actually, Big John, a big part of the problem, because people felt like, oh, if you're really getting abused out of all them boys, somebody would have did something. Well, I can't tell you why they didn't. I can't tell you why my dad, who's an elder, never checked my ex. I don't know. But that actually was a very big problem, because even over the years, as far as me telling elders what had happened, they would say, but your dad's an elder. I'm like, what does it have to do with anything? He doesn't go to this congregation. He does not go to this Kingdom Hall. I'm telling you. So definitely the fact that I am the only female, also, it didn't help the credibility, because people think, oh, if something's really going on, someone's going to do something, all them boys you grew up with. So, yeah.
Okay. Man, yeah, that's wow, that's gonna be deep. We're gonna have Myra back next week for about an hour. She's gonna come back and hang out with us, because I know I had some more questions. But yeah, we're gonna give the final let them know where they can go to send the money and all that good stuff.
Okay, definitely PayPal. It's just gonna be PayPal me, Myra Cassidy LLC, right? So PayPal me, that little / Myra Cassidy LLC, or the Cash App is just Myra Cassidy. Feel free to email me if you have any questions. luxury@myracassidy.com. Just my name, MIRACASSIDY.com. Definitely, I love questions. Donate, spread the word.
All right, Myra. Look, I already know somebody on here that's watching. They gonna hit you up. You're gonna go out on a date. And
okay.
like I said in the early video, this is your year. This is your year.
It's my year. It's my year. It's gonna be my year. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Myra. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, T. Bye, Big John.
All right, what we gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead and play that video that I normally play at the beginning because I see Pastor Bates, he's in, but Pastor Rush hasn't gotten in. I need to call Pastor Rush and see if he okay, see if he got everything. So we're gonna go ahead and play this video real quick. Let me find it, play my opening video. There it is. Greetings. Thank you all for tuning in to the BZNZ Internet Talk Radio Show. We're so excited and happy to have you here tonight to be with us in our broadcast live stream. Just a few housekeeping chores before we get started and your gracious host comes online. Tonight you are in one of the best places that you could ever be, and for that you should just go ahead and give yourself a round of applause. Real quick, we'd like to give you a disclaimer. The show is not responsible for anything that is said on the show. There's your disclaimer. During the show, if you are vibing with us, you feeling what we're saying, and you would love to just give us a love token, where you're going to see at the bottom of the screen is going to say Cash App Tyron Joe, $ Tyron Joe, TYRENJO. Anything that you can give would be greatly appreciated. A one, a two, or a few. We greatly appreciate it. Also, if you would like to be a sponsor of the program, please go to our Instagram page at BZNZ Talk. At BZNZ Talk, our Instagram page. Also, you can go to our Facebook page at BZNZ Talk, at BZNZ Talk, and we will be glad to work with you. And also, a quick reminder throughout the show, I want to let you know that the likes are free, the dislikes are free, the love button is free, the share button is free, and the subscribe button is free. 5 things while you're viewing this broadcast. 5 things while you're learning and growing. 5 things that is for free, and we would love for you to partake in that during the program. Last but not least, once again, we want to thank you all for tuning in to our program, our broadcast, our live stream, because you are the ones that run the show. Thank you all. Peace. Be blessed.
We gon' talk about it, we gon' talk about it, we gon' talk about it. Situationships and relations. Tyron Joe the host, start the conversation. Too much we gotta learn, too much we gotta learn, too much we gotta learn, too much we gotta learn. BZNZ, Internet Talk Radio. We gon' talk about it, we gon' talk about it, we gon' talk about it. Situationships and relations. Tyron Joe the host, start the conversation. Too much we gotta learn, too much we gotta learn, too much we gotta
You are now tuned into BZNZ Internet Talk Radio, where the relationship talk is the conversation that never sleeps and the payoff is never cheap.
You already know how it go. We gotta hit that theme song one more time. Let's go.
We gon' talk about it, we gon' talk about it, we gon' talk about it. Situationships and relations. Tyron Joe the host, start the conversation. Too much we gotta learn, too much we gotta learn, too much we gotta learn, too much we gotta learn. BZNZ, Internet Talk Radio. We gon' talk about it, we gon' talk about it, we gon' talk about it. Situationships and relations. Tyron Joe the host, start the conversation. Too much we gotta learn, too much we gotta learn, too much
Too much we gotta learn, y'all. Too much. It's too much out there. We gotta learn. Oh man, we are back. We are back. We are back. We are back. Man, that was a great segment by Myra Cassidy. I've been knowing her for a few years now, and she's always welcome to join our platform whenever she has anything going on. So I pray and wish her all the best, that somebody would support the fundraiser and take her out on a date. Absolutely. But for tonight, man, y'all don't know what's getting ready to happen. I'm like a kid in the candy store right now. You don't know what's about to happen. We got some powerhouses coming up right now. We got some powerhouses, man. First off, let me say we have Pastor Larry Bates with us. He was on with us a couple weeks ago from the Community Lifeline Christian Church, and then we also have with us tonight. Let me get it right. I don't want to miss nothing. Hold on. Let me say this. Hold on. I don't want to miss nothing. You know how it is when you don't want to mess up not a word. We have with us the president of the IMA, Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance of Indianapolis, Pastor Dr. Lionel Rush. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to belabor the point. We're just going to bring them both in. Greetings. How are we doing tonight? Oh, we got sound, we got volume.
Hey, Doc.
Can anybody hear me?
Okay, we can hear you.
I can't hardly hear.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, Pastor.
You can hear me well. I can't hardly hear anyone, so I'll just try to pick up.
Okay, you got some headphones? Yeah, maybe you might grab some headphones. You can hear me.
Maybe I'll try to go back out and come in, but
okay, yeah, go back out, come back in. I'll bring you back in.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Tyron, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. So
okay.
How's everything been going?
It's going fine. I'm looking at my video. It seems to be delayed, but I can hear you clear.
Yeah,
hear Dr. Rush.
Do you have a green screen?
No, I probably need to take that off.
Yeah, that's delaying you without that green screen. Yeah.
Okay, let me get out and come back in.
Okay. That go Dr. Rush. Let's see. Okay, Dr. Rush. Can you hear us now? Can you hear us now, Dr. Rush?
I can't hardly hear. I'll just try another device because I know it's important that I'm able to hear you. Let me try another device here.
Okay.
I'll go out and then you guys go ahead and I'll pick you up.
Okay. Well, I bring John back in while they getting the technical difficulties. Bring John back in. John, where you at?
Yeah, he is.
Man, so what you think, man? You think somebody gonna donate that money?
For Myra's camp, her little thing she got going on. I think so. Yeah, I think
somebody,
so.
Dwayne. Dwayne wanted to he a critic. He one of the critics. Hold on, Dwayne.
What'd he say?
He said very interesting, but you see the picture that he got up there. Dwayne, the emoji. You already know Dwayne, like, hold on. But Dwayne, she trying to find love, Dwayne, she trying to find love. Hold on. He said, so how old was she when she got married? And he still got the emoji there. He still got the emoji.
Didn't she say she was like 15 or something? Or
Yeah, she
or
said
got,
she had
got
been with him. Yeah, she said she had been with him since she was 15. I think she got
yeah,
married or something at 17 or 18. Let me see.
right.
Abuse is a very extreme word. I still haven't heard anything that says abuse. Abuse has many definitions, and I'm still not hearing anything. You know, I'll just say that I had questions myself, so that's why I just went on ahead and
Well,
asked.
she said she was being made to do things that she didn't want to do, you know.
Yeah,
So I don't know, you know. It could be according to her definition, you
right.
know.
I don't know when I hear abuse and rape, and when I rape, well, yeah, we ain't supposed to say the R word, but sexual abuse and violence and stuff like that. I say it's all subjective because what one person might think it is, another person might say no, it's not. And, I try not to even get on them subjects like that because that right there, that'll be a whole nother drawn out argument where people hollering and cussing and stuff because this person say this, another person say that, and you know how they go.
I guess it depends on the perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh, but I'm not gonna say I don't think that she wasn't. You know what I mean?
you don't think she
Uh,
wasn't what?
I don't think that she wasn't. I think that she was when she said she was getting abused.
Oh yeah,
Abuse could be anything. Abuse could be verbal.
yeah.
Abuse can be sexual. You know what I mean? So I just hope that she's able to help somebody who needs to be helped.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, sir. Man, let me see. Hold on. Let me see. All right, let's see. We got Pastor. See if okay, Pastor.
I'm
Is
here.
everything go in?
Yeah, I
Is
thought I
everything good?
took that at green. Didn't.
Yeah, you got to go in there. It says when you get ready. I think while you setting up your microphone, it's gonna ask you about a green screen, and yeah, you can just take that off.
Okay.
But yeah, John, while we waiting, D, we was talking earlier, and he wanted to hear your opinion on what's going on right now because they said something about, and I really don't even like to. I really don't want to talk about this, but I know when D come in, he gonna say something about it. D gonna say something about it when he come in about this war that they said is getting ready to take
I knew
place.
you was gonna say that. I
Yeah,
knew
that's
you was
that's
gonna say that.
D been talking about it all. You already know D been talking about it.
Every other day at work, somebody pulled me to the side and say, we're going to war, don't you?" And I be like, man,
I just
my
I
thing
just
on that,
started talking. I just started hearing it last night this morning.
my thing on that is, I feel like some other people feel like, why do we have to be, the superpower or the big brother of every uh, country or place in the United Nations that gets into trouble or gets into some kind of conflict, and we supposed to be the superpower of the world, but yet we got $1 trillion deficit. We ain't got the means to be helping nobody with $1 trillion deficit. We need to be
Right,
fixing our own house so we can
absolutely
get the American dollar back to what it used to be.
right. And the thing is, and you know what, I said this to a few people because they talking about the war. I'm like, thing is, we up here going all across the world fighting wars when we got wars going on in our bedroom. I'm just saying they don't
There
want to
and
talk.
everywhere
They don't want to
else.
talk about that war. You know what I'm saying? There's a war right now going on in the bedroom. They don't want to talk about that.
In the bedroom, in the house, uh, on your TV screen for our children's minds. You know what I'm saying? All kind of stuff, man.
There's war going on, and and people just act like they act like that stuff don't exist. But we talked about unity a couple weeks ago with Professor Walton, and I was telling her, I said, one of the ways that if we ever get to that point of unity as Black people, because I was like, I don't even think unity gonna happen with Black people. If we ever get to that point, it's gonna have to take place between the relationships of the Black man and the Black woman.
Oh, Ty, it's funny that you said that because I was telling somebody the other day, if we had real unity that could spread out. Okay, we got $1 trillion deficit, right? What if every millionaire and billionaire in this country, because let's say every 5 years, donate so many millions of dollars to the deficit and knock that deficit down, what that could actually really do for our country. You know what I'm saying? I believe it would take the middle class to a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? It would take the lower middle class to a whole nother level. We could do so much more for people that's struggling and give them so much more if we could do that. Or on another flip note, what if we can make something happen to where we say, look, okay, everybody, no violence, 30 days. You know what I'm saying? No violence, no battery,
You know what?
no.
Some of the YouTubers like Kwame Brown, shout out to Kwame Brown. He said that. He said since this is Black History Month, he said no violence, but that went away. That went away real quick. That went away real quick. People got to find it.
Of course, because you got those that are on drugs. You got some of the youth that just don't care. But I'm just saying, if some kind of way we can make it happen, what would that do to this country as far as, you know what I'm saying, incarceration, probation, all these type of things.
They would all go down. It would take it down. Just
private jails.
Yeah,
it would take the numbers down drastically.
Yeah, where private jails, that you messing with the government's money. But hey, the pastors they back. So let me bring them on up real quick. Let me see. All right, let's see. Pastor, I see the green screen is off.
Yeah.
All right, Pastor Rush, can you hear us now?
I can barely hear you, but
try your volume.
I've done that, and I'm hearing a little bit because I got the phone on at the same time. So
I hear echo.
Yeah, but I turned the volume. I can hear when you guys were talking, but as soon as you put me on the show, I can't hear you anymore. But I'll just try to make it work this way.
Okay, we're gonna try it. Well, first off, welcome to the show. Glad to have the both of you. What I wanted to say, a great program on Sunday evening. Oh man, I'm so glad Pastor Larry texted me that on Saturday night, saying that we're gonna have Pastor Jamal Bryant in with us on Sunday evening, because that I had to tell you, Dr. Rush, that was a great program.
Are you speaking about Sunday night?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just tell you about Sunday evening. When I was a younger minister, there was a dynamic leader named Dr. Andrew J. Brown. He pastored at what was then 17th and Martindale in Indianapolis. He was legendary. When he was in World War II, he was injured in the war, and he ended up down in Atlanta, in that area, and he stayed with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s father and mother. As King left there, went to Morehouse, went to Crozier Bible College, and then Boston University, and got his PhD when he was about 25 or 26. Had the opportunity to teach in Detroit, but went to Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. King was following a list of freedom fighters and civil rights workers and thought leaders. A.D. Williams, his grandfather, of course, his father, Martin Luther King Sr., his mother, all of those people influenced him very deeply. So instead of taking the professorial route, he took the route of a pastor, and then the moment was casted upon him as he was down in Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. Someone got on the bus, and as he called it, the zeitgeist moment set on Rosa Parks. And she did not get up, but continued to sit there ahead of the line that someone had designated for her to be only because of the color of her skin. This seamstress sat down so that we could stand up. So the moment was thrusted upon King. And it was just the right time when the fastball came down 95 miles an hour. And he, with the force of an academic bat and the force of moral suasion, hit the ball out of the park. I believe it was a boycott that lasted 355 days. On the other side said Uncle, that launched a new civil rights movement down south. Now, you need to understand that that was a part of the movement. There were a number of things already going on when that happened. And so it was people like Joe Lowry, and Dr. Martin Luther King, and Andrew J. Brown, about which we speak, that began to bring the Southern Christian Leadership Conference together. And you know the rest of that story. They spent the next decade and a half pushing for civil rights, first in the South, in the deepest part of the South, in Mississippi, in Alabama, in Georgia, in Florida, in these places that you hear of Bull Counter, of Lester Maddox, of interposition and nullification, of the Kelly Ingram Park, of the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and all of those other places. Those were scenes. I was able to go down to Alabama, go across the street to the 16th Street Baptist Church, where the 4 young ladies were killed, walk through the Kelly Ingram Park, and I could still feel the spirit that was there. Not only did King go to jail, but he enlisted school children to come out and do those fights. Well, Dr. Andrew Brown was rather unsung, but he came to Indianapolis, and he came to St. John Missionary Baptist Church, and he began to do what they were doing in the South, in Indianapolis. When I came along, he had begun to bring all of these groups together and define a political strategy, an economic strategy, a strategy for voting rights, a strategy for emancipation. And we used to have every King Day we used to have a Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Now, as I talked to his son, Tommy Brown, he tells me that the one in Indianapolis predated the one in Atlanta. That's amazing. Predated the King Day at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta.
Wow.
When I was doing my studies, I often visit Auburn Street in Atlanta, the Ebenezer Church. King, I used to talk to, at one point, I spent a day talking to Dr. King's roommate at Morehouse, very interested in it. But Dr. King used to come to Indianapolis when Reverend Tom Brown was 15, Dr. King was 26, his father, Andrew J. Brown, was 33, and stay in their house. As you remember, it was still segregation, and black folks couldn't stay in hotels, so black folks stayed in each other's houses. So that happened quite a bit. The same thing when Dr. King went to Crozier, and the same thing when he went to Boston University. It was the support of those people where he stayed in those houses at the time. So at any rate, we had those Martin Luther King Jr. services, and every year we had Charles Gilchrist Adams here. So when I was elected as president of the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance, one of the things that I wanted to bring back is the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And I'll tell you why. I heard somewhere, in danger lies the people who knows their annals not. If you don't know where you've been, you're not likely to know where you're going. And if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And so we do not worship our history, but we need to understand our history. Let me give you an example why that's true. 1776, this nation wrote out these documents. It says, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and they're endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. Among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, it's three of us. We're African Americans, and we're on this broadcast. Can we define what that document meant? We hold these truths that all men. What did men mean? It certainly did not mean Native Americans, because you gave them smallpox blanket and you beat them from the East Coast, and now they're in Oklahoma on reservation. It did not mean women, because the suffrage movement was many years later. It certainly did not mean these people that you stole from Africa and carried them through a dreaded Middle Passage and brought them here, either in Virginia, first in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, in Haiti, in those places, but in Virginia to grow tobacco and indigo, or to Louisiana to grow sugarcane, or ultimately to Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi, where cotton was king. They were not in that document that says we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. You did not think. Politically, that is why you had the doctrine of the African who found themselves in America are only 3/5 human.
Right.
So that's not equal, okay? In addition to that, it did not mean any woman, because women could not find their right for suffrage, for the vote, for the ballot, for years and years after that. It didn't even mean all white men. It meant some white men with property. And if you don't understand that history, then you don't understand today. If you don't understand that history, you don't understand 1808, when it was against the law to bring chattel people from West Africa. I'm careful not to call them slaves. They were not slaves. They were artisans. They were kings. They were botanists. The reason that they were important to bring here, because white folks didn't know how to grow indigo and some of those other places. They got those skill sets from the people that they stole. That was why it was important for them to steal. 50,000 voyages made in that Middle Passage. Banks were made from the financing of that Middle Passage. Liverpool, England was made from the finance of that. All up the Mississippi River. Millionaires were made. Where you all have Wall Street right now, that was made as a result of this issue. So if you don't understand that history, You don't understand why we're fighting. You don't understand George Floyd. You don't understand all the fights that we've had to do recently. You don't understand why we have to go state by state. You don't understand why the senator from Georgia, why it was such a big deal that he was elected January the 5th, 2021, to turn that red to purple state blue. You wouldn't understand that. You wouldn't understand Stacey Abrams while she was running for governor of Georgia, and you don't understand why Kemp was the Secretary of State of Georgia at the same time running for governor, and the Secretary of State controlled the election process. So he purged the roll of 340,000 votes. And when he did all of that, Stacey Abrams still almost beat him. She only lost by 50,000 votes. So we have to understand the history in order to know where you are. And you have to know where you are, called the lay of the land, in order to project where you need to be. And so it was important for us. And Brother Larry is our secretary, and these officers, we got together, we thought through this thing and said, we cannot do everything, but we need to do something. So one of the things we did was to celebrate. The other, and the reason why we needed to celebrate is because not only did Andrew J. Brown have the MLK service, but nearly every major political figure that you have had, including congresspersons, including clerks, including state representatives, came in some way or fashion out of the work that we did at the MLK Day at 17th and Martindale. Bill Crawford, the present congressman, Andre Carson, Julia Carson, the present federal judge. That grunt work came out of those sessions, those meetings, and that environment. So we want to revisit that and extract from that, the kinds of things we need to go forward. Now, as we turn forward and say, what do we do now? And Brother Larry can take the mic, but I would just throw this out. Okay. Today, we heard that Russia invades Ukraine. But do not we wonder, was this a setup from when Trump was talking to Putin and moved all of the diplomats and all of those people out of the way? Who does that? You're the president of the United States. There's a protocol for that. Everything you say, you're not speaking for yourself. You're speaking for the 352 million Americans. That has political implications. That has legal implications. It's absolutely absurd. And the first time Trump was impeached, it was impeached over Ukraine. And so today, we got to look on TV and wonder, what's going to happen to those babies? What's going to happen to the seniors? What's going to I was a paratrooper in Weapons Platoon. I cannot imagine them lobbing missiles indiscriminately in urban centers. That's awful. So everything that we do impacts, in some ways, the politics, the governance. And so we need to understand why it is important for us to remember our elders in a service like we just had. We gave out 5 awards. Let me just tell you about one of them. One of them, and we recognized the Black Family Award. And we had a young man and a young lady that 39 years ago had quintuplets. The only quintuplets without
Is that 5? Is that 5?
It's 5.
5.
Okay. Yeah.
5 quintuplets. Sidney Gaither, and Suzanne Gaither. She was 21 years old. And that woman had to be in the hospital for 2 months, Larry. 2 months.
Yeah, I remember.
Before she had the baby. And when she had the baby, there was 50 doctors and nurses that day for her to have the baby. Somewhere I read it takes $250,000 to raise a child from 0 to 18. Can you imagine having 5 at one time? Come on, Larry. I know you agree. I got a lot of respect.
One time.
That's an award we get. We gave Dr. Virginia Kane our award. You know why we gave it? That woman has been a true champion in our community. One time we had Indianapolis led the nation in infant mortality. No, I'm sorry, in Black infant mortality.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Bring Jenny Kane on.
Mm-hmm.
She changed that. She changed the issue with AIDS. She changed the issue with homelessness. Bold, smart, erudite, smart enough to serve us, smart enough to diagnose and the prognosis, but common enough to be with us, to bring us out of our morass. We gave that award. We gave an Amos Brown award out to our keynote speaker. We said that there wasn't as number one Amos Brown that's able to speak truth to power. I've never been with Amos Brown when he was not prepared. Amos and I have had many arguments. We loved each other dearly. The last argument me and Amos had was at Walmart on 86th Street for 2 hours.
Oh.
2 hours. He loved this city. He was smart and he held everybody accountable, including me and including you.
Yep.
Sure
and
did.
So when we saw our speaker, and I told Dr. Larry, I told him, I said, look, when the Arbery trial was going on, Ahmaud Arbery, the prosecutor got up and said, I don't want any more Black preachers in the courtroom.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, man, you know, the brothers and the sisters got together and said, oh, really? You don't know us? They were sitting right beside that mother and father. Reverend L. Sharpton, I think Jesse and two other.
Mm-hmm.
But the day the jury came back and the judge and pronounced him guilty, and the day the judge pronounced the sentence life without parole for two of them, and then life with the possibility of parole in 30 years, it was our keynote speaker that took the hands of that family and that took the hands also of those around him and introduced Benjamin Crump to them and to stand tall with their family. So we gave him the Amos Brown Award. And so we're celebrating those things. Now, what does that mean going forward? Larry can tell you, our speaker challenged the heck out of all of us.
That's right.
Told us to quit looking at other people about our issues.
Uh-oh.
And to formulate our own strategies. And so that's what we did. So I'll shut up and let Larry go on.
Okay. Well, you back? Are you back, Dr. Rush?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. First of all, I want to thank Tyron for inviting us on. I was on here a couple weeks ago, and the program was awesome.
Appreciate
Cindy,
it.
can you come get my phone and move it away? I'm getting the echo, and I want to be clear.
That was Dr. Rush. I muted his mic. So
Okay. What can you hear me, Doc?
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. It says my mic is muted.
Yeah. I muted you because it's a real strong echo coming from your mic.
Oh, okay. Does it work better that way? Because I want to hear Larry.
Yeah. You can still hear him.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, the only way I can hear Larry is through this phone, so I'll hold it over. But you can mute my mic, and I'll hear it through this.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank you, Tyron, for inviting us on. Jamal Bryant was excellent that Sunday, and you were there. I only wish that you were able to be at our breakfast this week. It was power packed. You got the sheriff, you had the prosecutor, you had Dr. Virginia Kane there, and we got a lot of brilliant minds that are involved in what we're doing. And I want to say this, because I think your audience is probably a lot younger than Dr. Rush and myself. I said this the last time I was on. We have to bridge this gap, this chasm that's between our generation and your generation. The church, in order for the church to continue to be effective and successful in our community, we've got to come together. Now, I'm going to tell you what I will not do at church. I will not compromise the gospel of Jesus Christ to get you there. I'm not going to do it. Come as you are, but we want you to change once you get there. I heard Big John. I don't know if he's still listening, but I heard him bring up the war. Now here's what I'm afraid of. Now, we just had a case here in Indianapolis where a young man was murdered in front of his children at Chuck E. Cheese.
Bro, yeah.
Okay. Ooh. Now, while we're murdering each other like this, what's getting ready to happen is a lot of our young black men, a lot of men, period, but specifically young black men, are probably going to have to go to war. Okay. Now they're going to be shooting at somebody that's shooting back at them. Now, if we start to lose our young generation of men, we're going to be in serious trouble.
Yes.
Hear me, because I said this before. When the man is taken out of the family falls apart. One thing I think the IMA is going to target is the family. Okay. I'm down. I was invited to the church that I spent 45 years in last Sunday to bring a Black history presentation. And I told them I didn't come to talk about Dr. King and all the rest of the guys with their great accomplishments. I want to know where the next ones are. And so my theme was Black to the future. We have got, look, we can keep talking. If we do nothing, we're going to, like you said, Lionel, if we don't know where we're going, any road can take us there. So we have to have a plan to get where we're trying to get away from. I'm trying to see a generation that's going to come, get the baton. I heard Dr. A. Charles Bowie say one time, it might get low, but it should never touch the ground as it's passing from one generation to the next. We have got to come together. And I'm going to toot Dr. Rush's horn. His passion for this IMA, not just for the IMA, but for Black people specifically, people in general, is paramount. Okay, and we need men like that. We need women like that. This organization is not a male, and I'm gonna share this with you. I was in the UAW. I retired from Ford Motor Company. I don't remember what year it was, but I was at the International UAW convention, and I'm trying to think of the name of the former president was there. Here's what he said about the leadership of the International UAW. He said it had become stale, male, and pale. I don't know if y'all caught that one. I don't know if y'all caught that one. Basically, it was all a bunch of white men. In Indianapolis, we have this thing called Unigov. 12 white men sat in a house on Meridian Street. I don't know how many years ago, and they decided we were going to have Unigov. Unigov has crippled this city as far as Black people are concerned. We have got to wake up. We've got to come together. Generations are going to have to come together. You may not like our, I hear some of the young brothers say, hey, OG, I'll accept that. But without an old school, there is no new school. I hope y'all hearing this.
Absolutely.
because we have got to come together. We've got to take our styles and our fads and put them aside and come together with a plan that's going to help everybody. Lionel talked about the Black infant mortality here in Indianapolis. We have a section in our city that leads in syphilis across this country. Now you hear me?
Yes, sir.
That leads in syphilis. We've got some issues that are going on while people are laughing and playing and having fun. We're getting left behind. We're not getting our share of the pie. I sit on the Indy Parks board. We give away millions of dollars every month for projects, and I see no Black people being represented in the people that are being awarded these projects. And I'm saying to myself, if we don't have any here in the state of Indiana, let's go to Illinois, Kentucky, Ohio. Where are you at right now, in Minnesota or Wisconsin?
Yeah, Minnesota.
Minnesota. If we got to go to Minnesota to bring some Black people in to do the work, we need to do that. But we've got to get our share. We can't wait on handouts. So I'm saying I'm proud of Dr. Rush. Again, I'm gonna toot his horn because he's passionate about what he's doing. To bring Jamal in when he did was crucial because he challenged every one of us. And I'm challenging all of your young listeners, Ty, to get alongside those in the generation above them, join hands with us so we can get into the future together. Dr. Rush, you still there?
Oh, yeah, he's there. I want to say something real quick. I'm gonna say something real quick before I bring Dr. Rush back. We got people listening. Look like we got some people that might want to say something on the phone line, but I want to say this: thus far, everything these two pastors are saying is spot on, because I totally agree is that there has to be some type of bridging of the gap between the young and the old, because if not, we not gonna have that. And again, what they are saying is falling back again toward the spirit of unity. That's right. We really need to bring unity into our community. Pastor Larry, that day that I had you on our show, I was called a racist right in the chat room because I was saying that I understood what Dr. Umar was talking about when Dr. Umar came to your church, and you were saying, man, Tyron, what is it? What is it that how is that all these young people came to church? And you said, I ain't never hardly seen these many young people. And I was talking about how Dr. Umar was, was saying black, how we Black people got to do this. We got to get together and do this, got to get together and do that. And I was saying that I really, truly understand what he's talking about, because the thing is, when you look at other nationalities, Asians, Mexicans, African groups, they stick together. But Negroes, are we really doing that?
Well, it's a process that took place on the plantation, Tyron. Okay, we were separated. They would take if you came from Zimbabwe and somebody else came from Zambia, they would keep you separate. They would put you together because you couldn't communicate. They would separate you based on not being able to communicate with each other. So, and then the Willie Lynch syndrome is still alive and well today.
Most definitely.
So a whole lot of younger people may not even know what the Willie Lynch syndrome is, but it's alive and well. I read the letter and he said, I'm gonna start with age because A is the first letter of the alphabet. He said you pit the old one against the young one, the tall one against the short one, the big one against the little one, the light one against the dark one.
That's right.
Any differences you find, you use them to separate each other. That still exists today. You got somebody who I don't like him because he's dark. I don't like him because he's light. I don't like him because he's big. I don't like him because this and that. We got all these reasons that we don't like each other. Let's find what we can come together on. Even and that's one thing I love about the IMA. We're tossing denomination aside. Let's come together and work together.
Absolutely. And it goes back again to something that Big John was talking about. We talk about this war, and I'm saying, our platform is about dating and relationships. And thing is, Willie Lynch, he said, put the men against the women.
That's right.
And therefore we have war against our Black men and women in relationships. I mean, I hate to say it, but sometimes the only unity between some of these relationships is when it's time for them to go to bed and have sex.
Yeah.
And sometimes they ain't got much unity in that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring in a caller real quick, and then we'll get right back. Let me see this. Mr. D, can you hear us?
Hey, yeah, I got you, man.
Okay.
Hey, to the gentleman there, I want to say much honor to hearing you. And Dr. Russ, he does not need any introduction. He's an icon of the city.
Amen.
Yeah, you know, an old guy like me, if I would go roll call, I would call a gentleman that really helped, gentleman that really put forth to try to get some unity in the community was Dr. Moselle Sanders, Reggie Jones, Lionel Rush. Oh man, I could just give you a whole platter of people that was back, you know, when I was a young guy. So here's my word out there for today. How do we find a way to get the young people? And when I say young, I'm talking about young blacks, because you don't see no white folks selling dope in the black neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't see the Chinese and the Mexicans shooting up each other like you do here in the Indy, where you got the black, so-called black on black crime.
Mm-hmm.
Now, somebody out there who was a chicken, and I said chicken, they put out a slogan that goes like this: snitches get stitches.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I'm a believer of this. If you are man enough to do the crime, stand up and take responsibility for it. Because, you know, that situation at Chuck E. Cheese, I was like about 3 or 4 minutes away from there when it all went down. And that's just crazy to take that man out among them little kids like that. Those kids are going to be traumatized for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And while they're being traumatized, we still got black young men killing black young men. And it's really pathetic that out of all the folks we supposed to have, the so-called, forgive me for being truthful with this, but we've got so many so-called black leaders or so-called black voices in Indianapolis that just out there for a photo session. They still, after all these years, they still haven't came up or formulated a plan to get the young black men together so that we can put an end to this. I mean, I've been living out in Indy for quite a while, and it's ridiculous the way I've seen the black violence starting to take over the black race.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got the so-called political people downtown that's saying you don't have to have a permit to carry a gun. Don't they know what that's going to do this summer to the young guys running around here thinking that they Marshall Dillon and Wyatt Earp? My hat goes off to you, Dr. Russ and Pastor Larry. You guys, I keep my eyes around, you know. I'm always looking around for somebody. But I want to congratulate you guys. You guys are doing a great job. And I really appreciate Dr. Russ. He knows me, but he don't know me. We run in some of the same we run in some of the same circles, but I made it my business not to be known. Hey, God bless you, Dr. Rose, Pastor Larry. Keep doing what you're doing, man, because we have to come up with a plan.
We're gonna get one.
Mind back around. We have to come up with a plan to bring the young black man's mind back around to, hey, let's think before we use this thing we got in our pocket.
That's right.
As a young man, I used to carry stuff. And I found out that when I carried it, I thought with it instead of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And when I stopped carrying it around with me, then I got to thinking, hey, there's a different way to handle this.
That's right.
Sit back and listen to you guys, man. Big John, hats off to you, Big John. I know this war thing is working on you because it's working on me too. And I see, hey, go ahead, T, run them down. I got you right here. I'm listening.
All right, okay. We're gonna bring Dr. Rush back in. All right, you back? You're unmuted.
Okay, am I unmuted?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Well, okay. I've heard a number of issues, but I think the critical one I want to tackle is teamwork makes the dream work.
Mm-hmm.
People who are oppressed cannot divide themselves. And since we've been here, there has always been a George Pencil versus Annette Turner. There's always been a W.E.B. Du Bois versus the Peanut Man. There's always been a Martin Luther King Jr. versus El Hajj Malik El Shabaza, who you call Malcolm X.
Mm-hmm.
We always make that critical division. And so when we start talking about dividing the elders in the society versus the youth of the society, that is a horrific division that makes no sense at all. The youth of the society always held the strength. The elders of the society have the wisdom. That's a little bit like saying, I'm going to make an automobile with the engine and no tires.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to make an automobile, you need all that. You need transmission, you need the engine, you need all everything. Let me tell you why it's important for me to have this discussion. Okay, so we get it. Now, Pastor Bates hit on it profoundly with this ideal of Willie Lynch. Let me tell you how that dog walks right now. There have been 25 states since November of 2020 when you elected Biden and this Black Caribbean Indian woman, first woman ever as vice president. January the 5th, you elected a Jewish senator and Warner, a Black senator from a red, purple, and now blue state. The next day, they stormed the Capitol. The very next day.
Yep.
You and I and all of y'all know. Now, in that storm was the Oath Keepers, the Boogaloo Boys, the 3%ers. Oath Keepers mean they were in the same army and military I was in and took the same oath.
Yep.
There were police officers. Now we find out there were congressmen. Now we find out there was a meeting before the meeting. What are you saying, Rush? I'm saying this. If your opposition is organized and you go to war, you're going to be disorganized? That's stupid. So first thing we're talking about is youth versus seniors. Let me tell you right now, in Ukraine, I just read one of the stories. The families try to get out of Kiev, try to get out of some part. They bombed the roads, they couldn't get out. If you ever been in those situations, body parts start flying everywhere. Indiscriminately, old, young. What am I saying? I'm being graphic for a reason, because it's stupid that every time we get into this, we put women versus men. I said to my brothers in the religious circle, there is no Baptist AIDS. There is no Church of God in Christ gunshot wound. There is no PAWF. Indianapolis has 5 denominations domiciled in or around 5 international denominations domiciled. But the issues that we got, if we don't tackle them together, we sound like some fools on the Titanic, fighting over, after it hit the iceberg, fighting over who's going to sit in the captain's chair. What difference does it make? The whole thing is going down 20,000 leagues under the sea. We need a plan. Save the ship.
Absolutely.
Then we'll discuss our denomination after we feed the hungry and clothe the naked. Keep our young people out of prison.
Yes, sir.
And what we ought to be doing is find a way to save humanity, save the race. I am a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. One of the reasons that I believe in Jesus Christ is because he stood up and he gave us his resume before he started. He borrowed from Trito Isaiah and said, the Spirit, the Ruach, the Pneuma of the Lord of Adonai is upon me, for it has anointed me to do the following thing to wit. First thing, tell poor people good news. You want to know what has happened? I'm going to cover this very quickly because I know people are always talking about there's black on black crime. Let me explain something to you about aggravated assault and murder. The FBI came out with a report. It ain't nothing different than what we know. White people kill white people. Black people kill black people. Jewish people kill Jewish people. Puerto Rican kill Puerto Rican. You know why? Proximity. That's who you closest to. You kill mostly people that you're closest to. You love mostly people that you're closest to. America is just, I don't want to call it a melting pot, probably a stir fry, and we got enclaves and pockets because of racism. But most people, the statistics will bear out. I don't hear you talk about white on white crime, but most of the murders that happen, particularly those murder suicide, who do you think it's going to happen to? Going to happen to the person who's closest to you. Do I, in some way, degrade the notion that we ought to stand up against death and mayhem? No, we should across the board. But let's not let that stop us from being able to work together. Or if we come up, when I was a younger minister, me and another pastor named Wayne Taft Harris, he had a young man go into his church named Michael Taylor, 16-year-old. That young man was arrested down near Washington Street, searched 6 times by 3 different cops, put in a transportation vehicle, apparently got to 25th and Keystone at the juvenile cell, shot rang out, brains went on the seat and on the ground. We fought that case. We fought it terribly. We fought that case. Well, case after case we fought, dealing with police action shootings, dealing with rateable reduction. We fought the Indianapolis Metro, the bus, when they were going to hike the rate up with our seniors. We fought all the cases that deal with a number of issues. We fought the cases that deal with, they wanted to move a judge, one of the black judges, out because she was in the drug court. And they wanted to move her out because they thought she was too lenient. She came to us and explained to us she thought that criminal justice ought to be restorative and not punitive. And that is how she's made those sentences. Other people thought, they came to us and said, we went in a 2nd grade class, and when we looked in that 2nd grade class, we decided from that and extrapolated from that the size of the next prison. Larry Bates is absolutely right. When we have people of not only of color, because some people are our skin but not our kin. But when we have people of color and consciousness, or consciousness first and color, whatever that they do. One time I met with the Black Police Association in Riverside, just hanging out with them and eating hot dogs. And I went to the chief of police and said, these guys pay their dues to the FOP, but if they have a problem, the FOP don't support them. So they had, I think their organization back then was named FILE. I met with them. They got one now called Noble. It's the same thing. It's the Black Police Officers Union. And so I asked them a question. I said, why don't you guys, y'all police, y'all got bad, why don't y'all kill folks? And some of them said to me, well, Big Mama and them raised us. And so there's a respect for life. Now, there are always exceptions to that rule. But I heard horrible things that in some circles, the white cops, when they get together, they talk about which one of the black folks that they killed, and some of them kill them, then they have almost a ceremony with it. We've been fighting these cases for years. And now I am saying it's important now that we bring together the family. The philosophical precursor for African Americans, since from Africans, is because you are, therefore I am. I am because you are, and because you are, therefore I am. But Larry was absolutely right. I once asked Dr. Malipi Asante, the professor of Afrocentristic at Temple University, I said, Dr. Asante, how do you make a slave? And he said two profound things to me. The first thing you do is you take from them who they are, their ontology, their existentialism, their isness. They're from Yoruba tribe. They're from Ashanti tribe. They're from whatever, Dinka tribe. You take from them who they are. And the second thing, you give them who you want them to be. In that movie, Roots, when they say, what is your name? My name is Kinta, Yomando, Oba, Kinte. Bam, 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 bam. Beat him. Now, what is your name? He still said his name. He runs away. They come back. They cut part of his feet off or whatever, and they beat him. And finally, they say, what is your name? Toby.
Toby.
That process of taking away, eviscerating, excoriating, taking away who they are, and then giving them back who you want them to be. That process has gone over and over. And so now, I just want to say this. The opposition right now have had 25 states to change laws. 17 of those laws restrict black voting rights. That happened. If you look at that history, every time the franchise is expanded, every time economics is expanded, every time that happens, 1808 was a year that you could not import slaves. So what do? They saw you as chattel slavery, so they made the breeding farms in Virginia. And that's where the term MF comes from. Because, you're an animal anyway. You can have sex with anything, your mama, your girlfriend, everything, in order to make more slaves. Then, of course, there was a strong opposition that came. You had the Nat Turners, the Denmark Vesey's, the Gabriel Prossers, and the David Walkers in 1831, who was, I ain't gonna say he was killed, but he wasn't heard from anymore after he sent all that stuff around the Atlantic Ocean down to New Orleans. They had a hit out on him. And then, of course, you had Frederick Douglass, who was beaten senseless right here in Anderson, Indiana. So then you had a war, 1861 to 1865, that killed nearly 700,000. America has been at war every year since it existed, but 14 years. It's only been at war 5 years when there was a time of 5 years of total peace. But the worst war that has occurred in terms of Americans dying until this month, when the war of coronavirus killed 900,000, the worst war was between 1861 and 1865. Over what issue? Slavery.
Civil rights.
All right. So after 1865, and particularly after Juneteenth in Texas, there was Reconstruction. But what happened in Reconstruction? That senator in South Carolina, all of those rights started to be revisited. Jim Crow laws occurred, and all of a sudden all those things were taken from. So for the next 1929, King's grandfather had a boycott down in Atlanta in the newspaper. 1965, the Rosa Parks Act happened. 1955, 1965. Because of the I Have a Dream speech and all those fights that they did down there, they pushed upon Lyndon Baines Johnson civil rights. The civil rights law came into effect. 65, 66, 67, voting rights, women's rights. And then what happened? The next pushback. Then you elected Barack Obama in 2008. What happened? Here comes the Tea Party. They act like it was about economics. It was about this same thing we're fighting about. And then 2020, you elected this black woman. 2021, in January the 5th, you elected that black senator out of a red and purple state. Then what happened? They stormed the Capitol. And so what you're seeing right now is the blowback from this notion of we hold these truths to be self-evident. But here's one problem. Then let Brother Larry speak.
I got some questions. I got some guys that want to come in and ask questions, Pastor.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna let you finish up, but then I'll bring them in so they can ask their questions when you
okay. Here's the big problem with all this, guys. 2 years after Barack Obama was president, there were more black and brown babies born in America for the first time than white babies. Mm-hmm. This freaked people out. You at 2022. By 2030, white people will be a minority in this country. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know what the psychology is, and I can't judge anybody. When it was clear in South Africa that white people were going to be a minority, they had to do one or two things. Wonder if Nelson Mandela was going to say, y'all put me in jail for 27 years, I'm coming back at you. Or they had to line up and say, either we're going to face fratricidal war and annihilation, or we're going to quit trying to be the tail of the dog and wag the dog. Mm-hmm. And right now, there are over 400 to 500 million guns in America. And my bishop emeritus, Bishop Charles Blake, once said they all pointed at black folk because of the fear. Because, first of all, there are some people that enjoy white privilege. The second thing is, my mama used to say, the thief thinks everybody's stealing. If I know what I did to you when we had the numbers, and by the way, they only had the numbers because they controlled immigration. But now our Hispanic brothers and sisters coming in from the South, and my mama had 19 children. Now, everybody didn't have no 19 children, but black folk had some children. They had some children, and the white folks stopped having children. Now the numbers have caught up. In the 1950s, the voting representation was 90% white. I gave a speech last night at the Columbia Club, and I ran into the mayor of Carmel, and he said to me, man, we have 70% white people in Carmel. We have 13% Asian in Carmel, 12% Hispanic in Carmel, and 7% black. Then he said something interesting. We have 30% black in Carmel in the daytime. You got to chew on that.
Whoa.
You got to chew on that. Mm. But the numbers are important. So all of this scaling back, King already dealt with it when he talked about not just interposition and nullification, but about redlining and all those kinds of things.
Sure did.
All these people that talk about Dr. King wasn't nothing, he didn't do that. Let's shut up. King was not as effective in Chicago and Detroit, and Malcolm would not have been effective in Birmingham. Because the anointing of God also takes in consideration operation and location. I follow Jesus Christ, but the Bible said about Jesus Christ, when he went back to Nazareth, he did not many miracles because of their unbelief. So his power is that he still has the power, but there's some areas that don't accept the prophet. And what Jesus said, when you get in the area that don't have a prophet, shake the dust off your feet and keep going. So, you know, let's just think through this thing. Now, I'll say this, and then I'll be through. Here's how the opposition. They got the Koch brothers and these big billionaires. They have put so much money in the political system that they can buy out judgeships. They got a 6-3 advantage in the Supreme Court. They stole a Supreme Court Justice, Merrick Garland, from Barack Obama. And then they just put in a woman right after the Supreme Court Justice died. So Trump could put her in. Just did that. 6-3. They put idiots in federal judgeship. 35 years old that didn't know the law from a hole in the ground. They framed the judiciary. They're trying to do something with the legislature to knock out black votes, youth votes, brown votes, and even young white progressive votes for the purpose of the dog wagging the tail. So they got the Koch brothers and all this big money machine out there. Then they got these universities without students, and they sit back and concoct these Frankenstein laws. Then they got Alex, who helped them design laws, multiply those laws, and send them to state after state. And they got all of that lined up. Those people don't like each other any better than we do, but they understand in order to get that, they have to work together. And every time we start to say, when we gonna get the young people? When we gonna get the old? Let me tell you something. When I was a paratrooper in the military, and below us on the ground there was 2 bars, one called Hillbilly Bar and the other called Joe's Place. But here's what I knew. When we got up in those C-130s and C-141s and helicopters and all stuff, we had to jump out. I don't care whether you black or you purple or whatever. Then nobody want to take a step without being ready. Hey, man, fix my shoe. Hey, man, because in foxholes and in places where things are bad going to happen, y'all know how to put all that petty stuff aside and get down to the business. And we as a group of people, there's not 100,000 people in Indianapolis, 1.5 in the contiguous area. Black folks is about 200, 250,000. You ain't got no black supermarket. You ain't got no black pharmacy. You ain't got no black bank. You ain't got no black. I saw this woman. He said, "Man, you gonna date her?" One lady said, "You gonna date him?" She said, "No, he got too many. Ain't got. He ain't got no JOB. He ain't got no CLAR, and he ain't got no mummo none yet. He ain't got no money. Look, we got too many ain't gots to be divided right now on denominational lines, on male-female lines, on youth lines. We got to come together to get this done." That's all I got to say.
All right, I'm gonna bring in John and Dwayne. I know they said they got some questions. If the stream start getting a little too much, I'm gonna have to take somebody off because there's a whole bunch of us on here. But all right, go ahead, John.
Hey, gentlemen, how y'all doing?
You're fine. Yeah.
I just want to ask both of y'all, and if you could keep it brief, because I want to retort after you give your answer. What is your thoughts on next month if they pass the law and Indiana becomes an open carry state? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's Dodge City. It's Dodge City. You got, look, man, the reason you got gun control is because everybody don't need a gun. Okay. So in my mind, now this is just in my mind, I want to know whoever got a gun is psychologically prepared to handle a gun. I need to look at your criminal background. I need to look at your psychological background. I need to know who you. I don't care what color you are, because you give a fool a gun, something bad gonna happen. Lionel, you want to hit it?
Yeah, let me turn back on my mic.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
But let's understand what this is about, y'all. This ain't about just giving a fool a gun. That's why you got to do this history. You got to understand this history. You got to understand what's the play here. What's behind this? I got a call not long ago from a black cop in Gary, Indiana. Dr. Russ, I said, yeah, man, what's up? Our police department can't buy no bullets. I said, what's up with that? These folks around here done bought all the ammunition out. You got to think while you're thinking. They may be coming out now and saying you can have open carry. But the move always in certain communities, in the white community specifically, go get a lot of guns. There are nearly 400, ain't but 300. Even when you get through with the census, it said 332 to 340 million Americans. And let's say people are in this level. Okay, so that's 350 million Americans. America, there are 8 billion people with a B. 8 billion. 8,000,000,000,000,000. 8 billion people in the world. That's only 4%. America's only 4% of the population of the whole world. Put more people in prison because of black bodies using the drugs than anybody in the world. 25% of the prison population, only 4% of the world. And because of a lifestyle that they don't want to come back and say, you know what? This is crazy. Why don't we fund all the schools? Why don't we lift all the people of America? They don't want to do that because money is made off of poor, black, Hispanic, other than bodies. Money is made. Money is made with diabetes. I used to have a business with a guy, and he said, hey, man, I got this transportation business. I said, what's up with that? We take people to dialysis, and we take them. They bring them in one time and cut off a toe. Bring them in another time, cut off 2 toes. Bring them in one time, cut off the foot. Bring them back, cut off up to half the knees. Then they come back and cut off they call pruning. I went to get a young man that I thought was wrongfully incarcerated. He has 60 years. I took a friend up there, and they came back and told the prosecutor. And while I was up in Pennsylvania, I said, what is that over there? He said, oh, man, they have to work for Apple over there. They have to work for FedEx. I said, what are y'all talking about? Because if you're in penitentiary, you can become a slave again.
Free labor.
They make money off of black bodies, period. And they make money off of black bodies. So here's the deal. This thing with the guns,
I don't want to judge anybody and say it's a fear and a phobia.
When I was young, white people used to come to me and say, I don't know why you mad at us. I ain't never owned no slave. Well, let me tell y'all something. These last few years, when blacks begin to achieve and do the kinds of things that they've done, they still only have 3% of the businesses in this nation. They still have only about 5% of the presidents in this nation. All of them, but as they begin to achieve, white people got upset because they thought they were going to lose their place. You got 97% of the business. What you talking about? What are you talking about? They don't want to share what black people build. Every time we get to February, we start talking about Drew and people that did stoplights and all that stuff. Man, come on. All you have to do is look at the National Football League. They say you couldn't have no black black quarterback. Who's doing the balling? Check it out. Can't have no black coach. All that stuff was a lie. They knew it was a lie. Now the fear is I'm going to lose my place. So the bullets and the guns coming out, and they want to handle the ballots because of that, because they used to say, I don't know why y'all mad at me. I ain't never owned no slave. It was always about, slavery was always about free labor. The dehumanizing of people was always about that. Always about that kind of denigration. It always was about that. When I was in college, they used to say, black people have never made a contribution in music. Oh, really? Well, y'all stealing every. Larry just woke up then.
Stealing all our music.
Everything black folks had. Dancing, everything, thought processing, orchard. And it never started in the 3rd century BCE in Greece. Never started that. Black people was running stuff before you got here. You stole the heritage, you bought. And so this thing right here, war always comes about when the discussion is no longer available or appreciated. And some of you younger cats, it started with us. I want y'all to understand something. Y'all ain't the first one that have no guns, man. Y'all ain't, Doc, please believe me. I was in weapons platoon, 509 Airborne. They would throw them hands, they would pow, pow, pow. They would lob them over there. Come on, dude. I was everything in me was with special forces, know how to blow stuff. Come on. Y'all ain't the first. But the issue is, how do we understand what's going on? How do we create an agenda that saves us? And then one last thing. Every time there is genocide in any society, the methodology is kill the boys.
That's right. That's right.
Why? The seed is in the boys.
That's right.
The seed is in the boys. So you always try to eliminate the race by killing the boys. You know, they want to see that pretty black sapphire now. Come on now, come on. But they want to kill the boys. So as we start talking about the proliferation of guns and why that is happening, and you just need to understand that people who said we hold these truths to be self-evident, they at a moment, we call it a come to Jesus moment. They had a moment that they got to look in the mirror and say, are we going to share America?
Or are we going to kill all the so-called opposition? That's where you are, brothers. And we who are African American people of color
have to decide, what are we going to do? If we are arguing about the youth need to get involved, what fool? I mean, are you crazy? We need all hands on deck. We need young people. We need Big Mama and them. We need Moo Moo and Pookie and them. We need the thinkers. We need the bankers. We need everybody if we're going to win this one. All right, I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Okay, real quick, I just wanted to give you guys my stint on it. When I was a younger man, most of my families had guns in the house. A gun was to protect the house. Was it been was you had a little 38 shotgun, whatever it was to protect the house. And most families had that. But a lot of us did not carry. You know what I'm saying? And if we did carry, they didn't carry legally. You know what I'm saying? Law abiding, no record, nobody's gonna stop them. Sometimes they carry whatever, but a lot of times it was
90 seconds.
It was kind of went without saying, if you carried around a gun with you, that you were a bad person. You know what I mean? We even had it implemented in our music. Me and Ty's generation, I don't know if y'all know who MC Light is, say, you ain't guarding the door, so what you got a gun for? They made it seem like a negative thing to carry a gun, which has been our legal right. Now, from my perspective, it's not about what the thugs and the criminals are going to do, because they're going to do what they're going to do, and they've been doing it. It's about us educating ourselves and educating our children. My oldest daughter, she has a very bad fear of guns. And I told her, I said, you know something, honey? You may not like guns at all. I said, but you're going to be a single woman at some point, and you might be living by yourself. And I said, the point of it is, if somebody my size come through that window or come through that door, can you pick it up and protect yourself? And that's the whole point of it. I just took my my oldest, my middle child out the other day and got her first gun, and we went to the range so she can learn how to use it. We shot several guns so she can know how to use it. It's about teaching us how to not be a victim. You know, a lot of times, I've said a lot of times in these situations where black men have been murdered on the street or done wrong by police, if law enforcement, if you had several 5 or 6 guys come out and say, hey, officer, we letting you know you're on camera, and we also letting you know all the guys that are out here are armed. They take a different approach when they see you armed. I've seen it time and time again. There's a lot of information out there. Y'all just look on YouTube and watch some of these videos. They take a different kind of approach when they see that you're armed, because now you have the same thing on your hip that they got on their hip. And they tend to be a little bit more respectful. You know what I'm saying? They'll still try to hit you with, oh, I need you to, you know, put that in the house, and you need to give me that for our safety. No, there is no safety. I'm a bystander. There's no reason for you to disarm me. I'm way over here. I'm not impeding in your investigation that's got on going over here. We need to learn the laws of our state. And that's a big thing. We talk about Indiana this, Indianapolis that. We need to learn the laws of our state. And once we learn the laws of our state, we need to pass that down to our children, so our children can know the laws of the state once they have children, so they can be safe. So when they come across these messed up situations, and they can speak, well, no, officer, such and such and such and such, so they can know that you know the law. You know what I mean? If you seem ignorant, they're gonna play their little game with you. You know what I'm saying? Where you going? Where you coming from? They're gonna play that little game with you. You know what I mean? I'm being detained. All of that. They're gonna play that game with you if they think you don't know the law. If they think you do know the law, a lot of times if you look on those videos, they say, "Are you a lawyer?" They'll ask you that, which makes me so mad, because what if I tell you that I am a lawyer, you're not gonna circumvent my rights now because you know that I'm a lawyer? So we have to know that, and we have to change our way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? This young man who has on these baggy sweatpants and carries a gun could be a working 9-to-5 lawyer, or he could be a Christian man. You know what I'm saying? These are not the same. Nothing wrong with telling the young man to pull his pants up, but we have to start looking at the way we teach things nowadays. If we want to bridge that gap between old and young, you know what I mean? We have to teach them the right way, and the right way is to know the law. And they're going to pass this law. Either they're going to make it an open carry state or not. Even if they're not, I've told my children, get your gun permits, because the bad guys are going to do what they're going to do. But if you're living by yourself, you need to have something to protect yourself. If we all, as law-abiding citizens, have something to protect ourselves the right way, and we know the laws of the state, it can keep us out of a lot of situations that we don't have to be in. I don't know if y'all remember the guy in Florida got into it with the elderly white man because they parked in a they parked in the handicap spot. So he's out there shouting at the wife. So he comes out, you know, what are you doing shouting at my wife? You know, this is a female, she's pregnant, da 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 da. He pushes the guy. Well, Florida's a what? It's a stand your ground state. So as soon as he put his hands on that man, he went in his pocket, got on his pocket rocket, and he shot that guy. You know what I mean? So it's chess, not checkers. We have to know what we're gonna do and think about what we're gonna do before we make these moves, so we can know how to survive these encounters and make it out of these situations. And when it's time to defend ourselves, we can use lethal force and defend ourselves if need be, and we can get out of those situations without having to be in some kind of court of law because we messed up and we didn't know what was going on. So whether they pass that law or not, I think we need to just educate ourselves and protect ourselves.
Well, Big John, let me say this. I see you got your hand up, Lionel, but let me say this. What I just heard you say was that father, and you said it earlier, Lionel, when you take the man out, you start to destroy this family. My daddy had guns all my life, okay? So guns ain't, like Lionel said, guns not a new thing. Y'all generation did not just, you know, what happened was guns have been more readily available for this generation than ever before. But if we're taught how to deal with the guns, now the open carry thing, I'm still up in arms about that, because if we could teach self-control with that gun, because I'm gonna tell you, I don't need to walk around with no gun, John. I'm not the guy that needs to be walking around with a gun on my hip. Because if you catch me on the wrong day and talk stupid to me,
most definitely,
I might shoot you.
Yeah,
it ain't got nothing to do with color. I'm giving you a real live situation. I was at a store about 2 months ago. I pulled in front of a white guy. I had no idea I was pulling in front of him. When I came out of the place, the guy said, "Didn't you effing see me sitting here?" Caught me off guard. I said, "No, brother, I didn't see you." "Well, you need to move that effing car." I said, "Man, I'm sorry I didn't see you there. Move the effing car." I said, "Brother, look, I've apologized." This is white guy. It was two white guys. I said, "I've apologized to you." I said, "What's the problem? You trying to make it an effing problem?" Now, if I had my gun on me, I'm just keeping it real, it would have been on his forehead. And I would have told him, "Tell me to move my car one more time, and I got a case." So control over being able to carry the gun is a different issue. And that's what I said. I need to know psychologically if you can be trusted to carry this gun.
Absolutely.
If you feel me, because there's some people out here, man, don't need no guns.
That's true, but
I'm one of them. That's why I said last week.
Listen,
I said
that's true, but that's one scenario out of many.
But I'm gonna tell you this.
Okay.
It is. So I can get in.
That's why I don't have a gun, because I know my temper sometimes can get a little high, and I be to use it. I'm sorry. Yes. Let Dwayne hop in real quick.
Yeah. Let me get in here. Greetings, of gentlemen.
Hey, my brother.
Listen. It's good to see you back on, Pastor.
Thank you,
my Lord, Big John, the doctor I see in the house. When it comes down to it, I've said. You've seen a wave of many things. I was just talking to a gentleman earlier, one of my closest friends today, just talking about how you see a heavy wave of so-called black men going on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, because their mental isn't on point, or they lost it. They finally broke. I'm gonna just say it like that. They finally broke.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Come get my child. That's all I care about. Just come get my child." Because this ain't about I know the conclusion of this story. I've killed the mother. I've killed the ex-wife. I've killed the girlfriend. I'm the next person that's going to be a victim of this gun. Just get my child.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen several live videos of that on social media, so-called black men. So when I hear Pastor Bates talk about mentality, that's where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've shared with people before. I've actually had a very educated friend, was about to start her own practice, was teaching in Hammond, Indiana school was a nurse, I believe, of the school. Took her own life for whatever reason. That's because the devil got her in enough of a corner.
That's right.
To where she became the victim of her gun. She didn't need to point it at nobody. She became the victim. So I'm like you, Pastor Bates. I think about all those scenarios because that's just how the Holy Ghost works with me. That my mind works like that sometimes. Tie close with me, you know. I'm gonna go even deeper because John said something. Not only are people not, you talk about self-control and restraint and qualifications. People ain't qualified to be married and have families.
Come on.
People not qualified to have these guns and a whole lot of other stuff. That's why you have the issue you have today. And that's why I have to get in here and ask, this is where the real church comes in, because like the doctor said earlier, I ain't looking in my Bible and seeing no Methodist, MB, or whatever these are, Catholics. I'm not seeing all that. I'm not even seeing Christianity. If you want me to be real,
come on.
If you were a follower of Christ, you were a follower of Christ. If he preached kingdom, he brought good news. So that's what you go to, because you got people just all over the place with their beliefs. Even when you talk about the black and the white thing, one of the reasons why I always use the terminology so-called black, so-called white is because when you look up the definition of both those colors, they want to make white good, black bad. You know I'm telling the truth if you've looked up those words. So when you look at any color, you don't see no Asian man walking around talking about I'm the yellow man, or this person talking about I'm the red man, or this, that, the other. We the only ones that embrace this history of which we've been told, calling ourselves black. And we all these different shades of brown. Then you go to what the doctor said earlier about the amendment, and you ask the question, what men is it talking about? Because you're talking about equality. Number one, every man ain't equal to each other, and it can't happen. It will never happen. That is one of the most delusional words in the dictionary. Ain't nobody ever gonna equal Anthony Dwayne Williams because I'm me. Ain't nobody gonna ever equal a Larry Bates or a Tyron Joe or a Big John. Nobody's gonna ever equal you, because our God is strategic enough to have created us with uniqueness. So that's one of the biggest fallacies that we have, blending into the schools and everything that we've ever been fed as a people. Everybody else is moving in rulership mentality and in culture mentality. But when it comes down to the so-called black, we're moving in equality. We want to be like everybody else, including the person we claim that's oppressing us. That's the issue. We keep chasing ghosts. And that's when you get to what Dr. Lionel was talking about worshiping history. I worship my ancestors. You got people that will embrace slavery so hard that they'll ignore the fact that we were in rulership at one point. And Dr. Lionel, that's what the so-called white man really fears, is us getting back into rulership. Because this ain't a supremacy. Only God is supreme. This is a rulership. So you don't want to lose your championship. You don't want to lose your kingship. You don't want to lose the throne. So you do everything to stay there. If we were in position, we would move the same way. So this is some of the things I want to throw out there to the panel.
Go on, Lionel.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
I've got to go.
We're well represented with Pastor Larry Bates. I wanted to be a part of this conversation today, and I appreciate you all having me, and please invite me back, but I've got to go. I did want to say that one of my dear friends, Bishop Jerry Macklin, I don't know if y'all can see this, but he's written a book. He pastors in Oakland, California, and some of the roughest neighborhoods. G's and Vice Lords here, Crips and Bloods out there. But at the end of the day, it's still about how we save our city and how we save our culture and our time. And read Bishop Macklin's book. It tells us of the kinds of things that we should do to save our community. Thank you all for having me on. You're in good hands from the standpoint of interdenominational ministry run through Pastor Larry Bates. And so appreciate y'all. Thanks again for having me, and please have me back soon. God bless y'all.
All right, man.
Thank you. We can't hear you, Tyra.
Can't hear.
All right, there we go. I'm back.
Okay.
All right. So Dwayne that posed the question. Y'all can go ahead and
Okay. You gonna hit it, John, or what?
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Larry. Go ahead.
Now give me that question again, Dwayne.
I want to know, since this, because this is conversations with the clergy night. So I want to know, what do we as a people need to do just in the churches, because we're supposed to be the treasure of the Most High. We're supposed to be preaching the kingdom. What are we going to do about, or what should we be doing in a rulership and a civilization that is giving us all these fallacies of history, giving us all these falsehoods, got people chasing equality and all this different stuff. When and like I always share with Ty, that's why the home is separated, because you got our women out here chasing the American dream when the scriptures say chase purpose. What do we do in that area? Because if you look at the scriptures, from the beginning of time, that's what happened in the garden. The serpent was after the seed to taint the seed of man, but he didn't know that was a prophecy of how the Christ was going to come regardless of what happened in the garden. That was always a plan. But the scriptures say, therefore shall a man leave his wife and cleave to his mother, and cleave unto his wife, and they shall make one flesh, or their children, because that's the future. That's what Big John was talking about, teaching them these laws and teaching them. In order for all that to happen, what can the church do? Number one, to put out the qualifications for how we should start these families. Because I'm gonna tell you, to start there, Ty was laughing about it, but it's the facts. There's a battle in the bed of the so-called black man and his woman.
Oh, I was serious about that. Absolutely.
Okay.
So what do we do there? Because these churches are full of these single mothers who've chosen to be the 80% of divorce.
Oh, okay. Let me go back to the family again. I keep saying it. When you remove the man, the family is going to fall apart. We've got to start making our boys become men. I was looking at my news feed earlier today, and in Chicago, there was a woman who had gone inside the gas station to pay for her gas. Well, it was two young brothers out there gonna steal her car. When they opened up her door, her boyfriend, husband, I don't know what he was in the car, and I don't know if he had a gun, I don't know what, but they ran when they opened up the door and saw him. Now, here's the problem. Number one, she shouldn't have been in there paying for no gas. She should have been riding in the car, and he should have been driving. I dare say he wasn't married to her. Hear me now, because part of it is the man's fault. Not all of it, but part of it is the man's fault. I see it too often, King. I roll up into the gas station. Here's the brother. He laying he laying back in the passenger seat. She's out paying for the gas, pumping the gas while he's over here. I see it every day. We got to start making our boys become men.
Yes,
absolutely.
Men build homes, boys play house. As long as boys are permitted to come in and get whatever they want with nothing else attached to it, it's going to continue. And so, therefore, look, I had to counsel a couple today before I got here. Okay, both people were up in age. And when I say up in age, they were probably you guys' age. They weren't teenagers. They weren't in their early 20s. Okay, they were. I didn't ask them how old they were, but they were probably between 40 and 50. Now, here's what I'm saying to them. One guy had been married twice. The guy had been married twice. She had been married one time. I'm telling them, y'all gonna have to start from scratch, and the man is going to have to be the man. What the problem is the church is going to have to force men to be men.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, if I got, and I don't know if I used this before, but my oldest brother had 8 kids, and the last 2 were the only 2 that had the same mother. Now, you with me? So guess what? Do you think he was raising all of those kids, King?
No.
No, he couldn't.
No.
It was impossible for him to raise all these kids when every one of them is in a different location. As long as men permit boys, I'm going to use that word, and I'm not using it to as a pejorative. I'm just using it as a reality, because just because we got hair on our face and hair on our chest don't make us a man. Just because I can produce some babies don't make me a man.
Right.
So we gotta the competition between men and women, because I'm not gonna let the women off the hook. I can make bacon and fry it up too. You got women who don't think they need you for anything but the bed.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
So they're gonna choose you because I want my baby by him. I don't really necessarily need him. I just want his babies.
Right.
I'm just keeping it real. So
that's facts.
Y'all know I'm telling the truth, and men do the same. Oh, she's fine, so I want her. Well, I want a baby by her. Do you realize? And Dr. Rush talked about it. It takes about $250,000 to raise a child. Now, if you're going to be a responsible person, you're going to be a man, and you're going to say it's going to cost me $250,000 to raise this dude, this young girl. Am I going to be that committed to it? That's why many we've gone to the I'm trying to think of what they call them, the where the father ain't there. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
The broken homes or the
broken home.
ADD.
It's intentional. Today it's intentional. I don't want you. I just want your baby. Because guess what? I'm gonna get paid. I'm gonna get paid whether you pay me or not to have as many kids as I want to.
Yes, sir.
So the church is going to share needs to share this responsibility of making sure we raise our boys to become men. I got a friend in Chicago, Clarence L. James. I think he's not back in Chicago, but he's from Chicago. The difference between a boy and a man, and that's the name of his book. It's an older book. He actually has a sermon online, and he talks about the difference between a boy and a man. And I'm just going to give you a couple things. He said a boy, listen, will have a dog, and it don't have to be no pedigree dog. It can be an old mutt. It can have a scar across its face and a broke leg. He said he'll go downtown and declare in front of somebody that this scar face, broke leg dog belongs to him and get papers on it. He said he can have a car, and it don't have to be a Benz or a BMW. It can be an old Ford with the headlight broke out and the bumper hanging off. He'll go downtown and declare in front of some man that old Ford with the broken headlight and the bumper hanging off of it belongs to me. But yet he will get your daughter and never want to marry her. So we have got to force. It's popular now for young men to say, oh, I got this one over here and I got that one over there. And I ain't gonna say players just are a new phenomenon, because it's been some players as long as there have been people, okay? But we have gotten away from forcing people to be responsible for what they do. The church is going to have to take the lead in making our young men become men. I don't know if that's all I can tell you, Doc.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I totally agree. I totally agree that the church and other groups, we all got to band together to make these young men men. And I'm gonna tell you, I got a young man right now on my bus right now. When I go to work tomorrow, oh, we gonna have a ball tomorrow. He cussed me out good today because I made him move his seat. He got upset. He cussed me clean out. So tomorrow we're gonna have a ball when I roll up to the bus stop, and I know his mom gonna be there ready to say something to me. So we're gonna have a nice little time. And I'm gonna tell him, like, hey, on this bus, tough guys are not allowed.
That's
okay.
Right.
You tough, you don't need to be riding this one. You need to go ride the other bus where tough guys are allowed, not on this one. So yeah, most definitely holding them accountable. A lot of young guys, even John, young guys we worked with, years ago in Indianapolis. And we had to talk to them, had to work with them because they thought they knew. They thought they knew what it was like to be a man. It was like, come on, man, you just 12, you 13. You don't know what it's like right now. You don't.
They had no idea. They had no direction.
No direction.
And being in the church is one of the examples that I had as a young man that gave me the direction to where I wanted to go and where I didn't want to go. You know, when the fellas got ready to go steal, you know what I'm saying, I had that moral background and said, no, I don't want to go do that. Or when it was time to go ride in a stolen car, I don't want to go do that. Let me correct your own with just one little thing, Mr. Larry. The car situation. Because a lot of people don't know that a gas pumping thing, man, should always pump that gas.
Always.
But as far as those two gentlemen getting ready to carjack that car, the reason why you send a lady into the store to pay for the gas is because if they had get ready to carjack that car, they would have snatched her out of there and they would have took that car anyway, or took that car with her in it. You know what I mean? So with that man being in that car, probably with a gun, is the reason why they ran off.
Okay, John. Let me just throw this in there. Then he should have got out the car with her and went in.
Or you can do that as well.
But you see what I'm saying? I'm not gonna send my woman to do anything, man.
You can do that as well. You go in there. You go in there with her.
I'm just talking about me. I'm not gonna send her to do something that I ought to be doing. Come on, baby, we'll go in the store together. Okay.
Right.
So that these hoodlums will know she got a man.
Right. You go in there with her. You know what I'm saying?
Now they was in Chicago. Look, Doc, being a man, you got to watch yourself in certain places. Okay.
Most definitely.
But I feel yeah. I'm not trying to debut that. I'm just saying that I'm talking about these clowns that I see who ain't trying to even protect this woman.
Oh yeah.
They just
that starts at home.
They just
it starts at home. You know, from a young age, I told my son, you know, and I told my wife and his siblings, I say, when we go somewhere, let him open the door. Yeah. I'm trying to teach him manners.
That's right.
Being tired of work with children for years, and I tell those young men, I said, first of all, I said, do your hygiene in the morning first. Try to chase behind these little girls. If you smell, you won't get to the next step. Your hygiene is the first thing that you do. I said, second of all, watch your mouth when you talk around these young ladies. When you with me, I don't care if it's an adult lady or a teenage girl. You're not going to be using no foul language with no ladies in the room. Or you have to come talk to me. I say, so when you in the room and the ladies in the room, watch your mouth.
That's right.
I said, you're not going to talk like that. You're going to have some respect when the ladies in the room. And the reason why they have those places for children like that, because they don't have a man in the home to tell them that.
Absolutely.
They don't have it. So I think where we started is they say where it takes a village to raise a child, we need the village. I had the church, I had my uncles, I had my father, I had my grandfather, I had my other great uncles. So I had a village. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that's the way I turned out the way I did. A lot of these kids don't have a village. You know what I mean? So that one Mr. Tyrant or that one person that can give them that information is going to be the man in their life that can lead them in the right direction, because they don't have that village. You know, all they have is a negativity in their life. Now that I went from working with children to men, it's the same thing. They'll tell you, oh man, my mama grew up smoking crack and I was selling crack. I didn't care about nothing. And I got 35-year-olds telling me, oh, I look at him like a daddy, which I wish they wouldn't say that, but because they don't have nobody. You know what I'm saying? They never had nobody to listen to, you know? So when we talk, when we speak, me coming from where I came from, I've seen the same things that they've seen, you know, or I've experienced the same things that they experienced. I might have just went a different route, but with my own eyes, I've seen the same things. So I can relate to them. You know what I mean? So I can tell them, brother, you don't have to keep doing this.
That's right.
There's another way. You're wasting time right now. You got a whole life to live. You're wasting time. But see, they don't have that village to lead them in the right direction. Train up a child in the way he should go. I learned that from an early age. You know what I mean?
I see somebody got a question on it. They say, "Will the church be willing to hold people accountable?" Let me. Look, that's a question. You have to say specific churches, because when you just say church,
right?
You know that here's the problem. And I'm going to try to use a couple examples from our church. Okay, we're going to hold people accountable. Listen, I'm not. I think I said this the last time I was on there. I'm not the marriage police. I'm not driving by your house, King Dwayne, Big John, and Ty, to see if some woman's car is in your driveway all night, or if your car is in her driveway all night. I'm not doing that. But if somebody come to me and I just happen to get it, and they say, "Well, man, y'all, Pastor, you know they living together." Now, guess what? Now that that's been dropped on me, I want to talk to both of y'all. Come on in my office. Okay, come on in my office. Are you living together? Yeah. Well, here's what I can't do. I cannot take your membership away from you from this church, but I can tell you what you will not be in a leadership position. Yeah, you feel me? You ain't gonna be up directing no choir. You ain't gonna be standing at the door ushering. You ain't gonna be doing nothing in no leadership position when you're practicing sin in the church. So, Ebony, I can only speak for my church. When we talk about the church, when you say church, that word cannot encompass everybody's building. I don't know what everybody else is planning, so I can't answer that question definitively. But I can say this: at our church, we're gonna hold you accountable. I want to be held accountable as a pastor. I need to be held accountable.
But how you dealt with that, Pastor? I like the way you said that, because I wanted to ask you and the other pastor while he was on. Homosexuality is become mainstream.
Yeah, I want to talk to him about that too.
So
yes,
my thing is, how do you or not address that? Because you have some people that say, well, you do this, you do A, B, and C, and you some people that say, well, all you do is need to preach the word of God, because Jesus said, "Thou shalt not judge."
Okay.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. It's real simple. I said practice sin. Homosexuality is a sin. Now, I said it earlier. I'm going to be challenged one day with in Indiana. It's legal for 2 men or 2 women to marry each other in Indiana and some other states. So if 2 men come into our church and they want to join this church and they marry, that's between them and Indiana. But I'm gonna tell you again: don't come in here thinking you're gonna be up here directing the choir. You're gonna be at the door ushering. It ain't gonna happen.
Thanks.
Don't apologize for it. I'm not trying to put nobody on no islands nowhere and castigate them. I'm not trying to do that. But I'm trying to tell you what you won't do in my church. Now, so they look, sister, they sleep around in church. You ain't gonna stop nobody from sleeping around. Let me just go and break that down. I'm not coming by your house trying to find out who's sleeping with who. But if you are in a position of authority at where I pastor, it's not gonna happen. I can't stop nobody from sleeping around.
Katie, I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Let me just say this. I'm appreciative to you, Pastor Bates, for tackling these topics. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it don't even have to be entertained. But here's the issue. You are supposed to be the church for the people that keep putting the questions up, whatever. The person who wants to know ask all these questions, we're supposed to be the church. God set this thing up for it. You could tell by the beginning of time with Adam and Eve. We'll just start with Adam. You can tell he created and started this thing, set this thing up for us to be able to self-govern ourselves.
That's right.
That's why I just talked on a topic on my channel the other day. Ty saw the video where I was talking about how you see it all more often than not. A lot of these women that when they do get their divorce in Babylon, they think that they do it for the sake of being free. I've been in this marriage too long, and I woke up one day and I'm just tired. I'm unhappy. So the relationship is at a threat because you unhappy. So now you compound that almost like the David with Bathsheba situation where he compounds it with murder. It was adultery because he took another man's wife.
That's right.
He was king.
And murder because he killed him.
He had wives and concubines and everything else. But what made it a sin is that he went and took another man's wife. Well, you can look at the commandments, what it say about that. Don't covet your neighbor's belongings, and it starts with the wife. She is property to you. The treasure, your number one top treasure, just like we're supposed to be the number one top treasure to the Most High. So you can see in the beginning that he set this thing up for us to self-govern ourselves, but you'll have people that divorce for the sake of going right to sleeping with another man, take his DNA, and you still got your husband's DNA on you. This was the significance of the conversation at the well with the woman that the Christ had. You got 5, 6 husbands because you ain't even healed yourself. And these are the reasons why families broken. The confusion comes in because the children are looking at the same-sex marriages and the fact that their parents are divorced, and now they're in pureness and in innocence. They say, "What, Daddy John? Why are those 2 men together? Why are those 2 women together? Or Daddy John, why aren't you and Mom together?" You see how God talks through the children, and it lets you know in the scripture. Pretty much, they say the darndest things because God has an order. Forget about your confusion as a man or a woman. The generation that you're responsible to, since that people always want to got this new wave, I know the assignment. The biggest assignment you have is when you marry and you make children with somebody, that you guide that one flesh into the right direction. That's the greatest assignment you could ever have. And then you got women going to these courts, and God's law is still his law. So where it becomes adultery is that you think Babylon gave you this pass, this slap on the wrist, irreconcilable differences, but you still connected to that man by the one flesh. Now you still got to walk around with the responsibility of raising these children together, but you know what some do? They cut that completely off, and they won't even communicate with the father because, and pretty much wage war with him and God because that's his seed. You're not God because he put that seed in you to put your nose up in the air and walk around. I'm never going to communicate with him. I'm not going to treat him right. I'm going to make all the decisions. These are the things that are in church. Or I should say the church edifice, because you're supposed to be the church. You're supposed to self-govern yourself, heal yourself, build yourself up, do the studying to show yourself approved, to make yourself to the walking, talking church, kingdom teaching to kingdom.
Absolutely.
So you draw people to that mindset.
Complete facts.
But we get so focused on the building that they come in trying to put all this responsibility on pastors. Look, I'm gonna defend pastors because you should be talking about getting these men in the right direction. The first place is that they be pastors and priests in their home so that they link up with the pastors in the church building.
That's right. Now
you make his burden light to teach a community. Community just means people who have a common unity. you know what I'm saying? Like you agree. So now it's easier. And this is where I'll agree with John to an extent, because the village is a plus to everything. But the teaching should be that you start by protecting your seed by the woman you choose, man. Because if you don't know the laws of the land, if you don't know her, you don't know yourself, you'll put your seed anywhere and she gonna rank your feet over cold. She gonna be your Judas in the earth, because we all got a Judas. But will you learn from your Judas? Will you be able to convert your Judas? Because Judas could have repented. He could have repented.
Oh, absolutely.
Jesus had a conversation with Peter at the same table. Peter did exactly what Jesus said, and he repented. So what that lets me know is prophecy could have still been fulfilled by Judas betraying him, but he could have repented and had one of the greatest stories, like Paul, like Peter, like all these individuals that had their own personal betrayal of Jesus. So we have to learn to teach these things, to rightly divide the word and break it down, to teach these things so we can teach men how to truly be men, starting with protecting your seed by respecting it enough to not put it in any soil.
Amen.
Because that will come back to bite you.
Well, listen, here's what just popped in my head. There is no perfect church, okay?
Absolutely.
And if you find it, hear this, guys, they ain't gonna let you in. Okay, so for somebody looking for the church where, well, you just go in and everybody just walking around, and everybody just all tight and right. It's some faking going on, because somebody going through some stuff. Whether or not I heard somebody put it like this, John: God won't heal what you won't reveal. You with me? So it's some people. It's some people who are suffering, and that mental thing, King, is where, with the gun thing, where you got people who are taking their lives. I came home a couple Sundays ago. I mean, I'm exhausted. I've got 3 funerals tomorrow. Okay, I got to be at. I got to preach one of them. I got another one Saturday, and then Sunday my schedule's full. And a couple weeks I had a weekend like that. And I came home on a Sunday evening, and I'm exhausted. I'm laying across the bed. I'm trying to rest my body, and the church phone rings on my cell phone. I have it forwarded to my cell phone. I answer the phone, and the voice says, "Is this the church?" And I'm like, "What?" And it hit me. Okay, this is somebody calling the church. Here's a woman who's getting ready to kill herself.
Wow.
You hear what I said? And listen. She got 2 sons who totally disrespect her, and she told me, I think they were in their 20s, late 20s, and she's saying, I just feel like I've not done a good job. Obviously, she raised them by herself, but she was on the verge of killing herself. I was on the phone for 2 hours with this woman, and finally, she said, "Thank you." She said, because I told her, I said, "You can make it." I said, "But you got to trust God." Quit. I said, if your sons don't love you, let them go. Look, if you got somebody that don't love you, don't want to love you, let them go.
Absolutely.
Let them go.
Absolutely.
Why should you be miserable because they don't want to be happy? You follow me? But our job as Christians, we're all ministers, but our jobs as Christians is vitally important. And let me say this: I'm starting to get tired, y'all. But let me get this to you.
Okay.
I'm thankful that I'm seeing some younger brothers like you guys, because I'm gonna tell you about my church. We're in a church where the building is completely paid for. We own right under almost an acre of land. We have a house that the church owns. We owe nothing on it. I would hate to see some pimp come in and get this church and just rape it. Y'all feel me? That's why I say this chasm has to be brought together. It's got to be filled. This valley that sits between these generations has got to be filled, because if not, the church as we know it is no longer going to exist.
Absolutely.
The church I grew up in, I told y'all, I was there Sunday, big church, beautiful church, love that church. It was empty. Average age of the ones that attend is 80 years old. We got a problem, man. We got a problem. And when I look out and I see the 17-year-old, and let's say 45-year-old brothers who ain't thinking about God. They ain't thinking about the church. They ain't even thinking about God. They thinking about how much money I can make.
Yes, sir.
And don't you know the graveyard and the penitentiary is waiting on them?
The richest place on earth.
Look, free labor.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
They're waiting, John. Look, and I'm down with you on protecting your family, because we need to protect our families, brother. Okay, I'm with you on that. But when we give some uncontrolled young man or young women now a gun, more than likely it's going to be somebody that looks like them that gets shot with it.
Yep.
You feel me? Because if you can't self-mastery, if you don't hear nothing else tonight, hear this. Self-mastery is the greatest mastery. Master you.
Absolutely.
If you can master you, you'll be able to do a whole lot for humanity, because you'll be able to stay in control of yourself. Nobody will get you to the point where now you standing in front of some judge in a black robe who gonna tell you I'm gonna sentence you to 120 years. I got a young cousin. He's already been in prison now at least 20 years. He got a 126-year sentence. Now, how do you do 126 years? Self-mastery. How do you do 126 years? 19 years old. He went to prison. And he's been in there at least 20 years. He's close to 50 now. Close to it. But what I'm saying is he didn't have control over this. And if you get control over this, it's going to line up with your heart, guys. Okay? We got a big job, and that's to correct the mistakes that not just the church. See, I'm tired of the church getting blamed for everything. See, because if you listen, if you ain't gonna help me, get out of my way. Don't criticize and complain. Anybody can do that. Show me how you can help me. See, it's a whole lot of people just sit back and say, well, y'all ain't doing this. Well, what are you doing? I see that all the time. Well, man, y'all ain't, the church ain't doing this. What church do you belong to, Doc?
Facts.
What or do you contribute? Look, man, before I started pastoring, I retired from Ford Motor Company. I started preaching while I was at Ford Motor Company. I retired from Ford Motor Company. I get a pension check and a Social Security check every week. If the church never paid me a dime, I'm going to be okay. Paul had a job. Paul worked. You with me? So all these dudes who get these churches and they demand these big salaries and they ain't doing nothing, I'm not down with that. I'm not down with it. So look, the sister says she ain't nobody blaming the church. Well, when we criticize the church, I don't know what else to call it. It's criticism. So, again, offer me some solutions. Help me do what we need to do. That's all I'm saying. I'm looking for some young men in our local church to come in and help bring some more young people in so we can stop the killing in our neighborhood. We can stop the pregnancies, unwanted pregnancies that are going on. We can stop the transmission of sexually transmitted diseases. These things affect our community. We've got to do something about them. It's no longer acceptable just to talk about it. We got to do something.
Absolutely. Totally
we got to
agree.
do something, man. I'm passionate about what I'm saying, and I don't want to sound dogmatic about it, but we need help. Church needs help, young.
Why, Pat? We ain't gonna hold you long. You said you was getting a little tired. I know it is. We had an hour is far spent.
Wait a minute, Chad. The sister saying, what are you down with? I'm down with righteousness.
Facts.
I'm down with righteousness. Look, I'm tired. I'm wore out, y'all.
Yeah, I know.
I got 3 funerals in the morning.
Oh man, we're sending prayers for you.
Pray for me, y'all. But look, I'm thankful for you, brothers. Try to keep doing what you're doing, King, Big John. God bless y'all, man. Okay.
All right. Bless you too, Pastor.
And you know the saying, I love you and you can't do nothing about it.
Love you too, Pastor. Have a good night.
All right. Y'all be blessed.
All right.
Man,
good conversation.
Great conversation. I ain't gonna lie. This is what we've been needing is a panel with the men. Let me see what Ebony saying. She said
why they get right back to your singleness.
What'd you say, Dwayne?
Why he get right back to your master and singleness? I say, look at this.
Oh, you already know. It's all coming around full circle. All coming around full circle. They said we was woman bashing women. Well, that's why you don't see none of them on the platform tonight. And this was a real good platform tonight. I'm not gonna lie. Very good platform.
Yes,
listening to men, senior men that is dropping game. You know what I'm saying? Dropping game on the young men. That's why I love having them come on.
She said the church needs to tell the truth simply. Tell the truth about what?
I agree with that.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Ebony is not completely wrong about what she's saying. There's a lot of truth to what Ebony's saying. It's like, the church does need to tell the truth. She said there's a lot of effort that goes on in the church. Facts. I totally agree. It is a lot that go on in the church. And so, there needs to be what Dr. Rush was talking about earlier, about bridging that gap, bringing, the young and the old, really what Pastor Bates was talking about, the young and the old together, because that's the problem, is that we don't have no unity between the young or the old. We don't have unity between the man and the woman because of what, again, Pastor Bates brought up that Willie Lynch letter. John, I used to read from that book all the time. People used to get upset when I read from that book all the time, because that's the problem that's wrong with our community today. And it's stories, it's all kind of war stories I could tell about how the church did people, how the church did me. So it's some truth to that. Let me see what Robin, man, hold on, let me do my shout out. Shout out to Robin Harper. If you're new to the page, hold on. Shout out to Robin Harper. If you're new to the page, Robin, please subscribe to our YouTube page. But let me see. She said we have to come together as one church, community, school, home, fire department. Police department too. Absolutely, we got to be one.
That's facts.
And and the way we do this is by having these type of discussions, these type of panel discussions with no capping. You know what I'm saying? No capping is allowed. All just straight, we straight facts. All that giggling and snickering and all that's not allowed on the panel. No, I feel you, Ebony. I'm not trying to be a troublemaker, but for real, right? These are serious questions that need to be asked. You know what I'm saying? Like I heard John talked about the homosexuality, but I had a whole list over here of things that I know that a lot of people that's driving a lot of young people away, like the tithes and the money. Also, Dwayne hit on it, talking about being a Christian, a true Christian, when he was talking about, that's not even in the Bible, that confusing them. And then, we already said homosexuality. Then I also threw one in there too, the teaching of wives being submissive. You know what I'm saying? I know women that can't go to church. They pastor talking about a wife being submissive. They can't handle it. I'm like, how you gonna be a Christian if you can't handle your pastor trying to tell you about being submissive as what the scriptures has said?
Well, see, the thing is, the whole Christian thing is self. And I was listening to a guy talking about it today. We have to really dig into the word and understand that I believe the one time that Christian was mentioned in the Bible, or someone was called Christians, it was the pagans referring to the followers of Christ as Christians.
Hello.
But at the end of the day, is that what we are? Is that the doctrine? Because you got to really dig into this word and understand what it is saying. And I'm gonna tell you, man, it makes me think about what Big John was talking about earlier, about what you was raised on. Because like I say all the time, Ty, not having a mother, not having a father, neither one of them raised me. Being up under grandma, doing the best she could, being up under my grandfather, they doing the best they can. Going to church, having an encounter with the Most High that way, cool. But I had to grow up, do a self-inventory check, and then self-master myself. Because grandma made mistakes, and she actually, could apologize for those mistakes. There were things that she said to me that I didn't even know was mistakes till she spoke to me as a young man in college and said, I could have prepared you better. But I was just stepping in. Yeah, you were stepping in, maintaining a situation that was not yours. You're not my parent. So now I had the responsibility as a man to add to myself. Now I've made my choices. I've went through some things. I'm a divorcee and all that other stuff, not by my choice. But this is where it gets real serious about your children, man, because you can be a man who have a plan for your seed. But if that woman ain't with it, man, it's a wrap. You got a problem because you did not make the proper choice on your soil.
Amazing.
Now, this is why I talk about how Judas could have been learned from or converted. He clearly was learned from. So if we all got a Judas, and this is why I continue to tell you, Ty, don't fight the naysayers. Don't worry about who about you. Don't worry who's jealous of your energy, because everything Christ showed us down to the fact that he sat at the table with a devil, we gonna do all of that. If you are really tied to him, the scriptures say you got to suffer with me to be mine. You can't be claiming me and ain't suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, Big John, you gonna come face to face with your Judas. Ty, you gonna come face to face. And you know what? Ty, funny as ever, but it was facts because sometimes your Judas is in your bed.
Most
The
definitely.
only difference is our Judas don't have to commit suicide. Our Judas can repent to us. Our Judas can be converted. But you got to have a teachable spirit. A great man of God once told me this. One thing that make you a great wife, and let alone a great human being as a man or woman, is that you have a teachable spirit. Yes, I messed up, but we're going to put it back together because I realize I messed up. And because I've learned the word, I'm not going to just keep on living a lie. I got to fix my family because that's the protection.
I think, Katie, what you just said, having a teachable spirit, I think that's the key to bridging that gap. What they was talking about in
Monumental.
the church between the
Yes,
old
sir.
and the young, bridging that gap.
Yes,
You have to
sir.
have a teachable
Teachable
spirit.
spirit.
Have
Yep.
you ever, back in the days, been around the older people of the church and tried to tell them something, and they're like, nah, 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 like they don't want to listen because they think they know, and you're coming from a place of where you have learned this, and you try to tell them and explain something to them, and they're like, well, no, 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 no. They don't have a teachable spirit, and just because you're a child, they don't want to listen to you, And I've had those experiences myself where I'm trying to tell somebody something, and they're not listening, and so they're not receiving what they're supposed to receive.
Right.
So
Right.
they have to have a teachable spirit, just like when you open up that book and you pray for understanding. You have to pray for understanding as a whole and everything, because you might be getting some jewels from a source that you think, oh, that's just a child. That child is giving you jewels straight from the source because it's a
Facts.
child. You don't want to listen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta be able to open up our minds and get ready to receive when it's time to receive.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Straight up facts. Well, all right, gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and shut this thing down because man, we tired. Man, any final last
You
words
you
real quick?
trying to be the lead attorney tonight, huh?
Right. Lead attorney. Well, now he doing 5, 6, 8 hours,
All right.
Any final last words before we shut it down?
You, Big John, you want me to go on? I know y'all
mine
the
is
host.
real. Mine is real quick, man. Everything's been good, man. Great show tonight. I got both my babies back in the house. One came from college, and I got the other one here with my grandbaby. So we've been kicking it live, and I want everybody that's watching the show that pray that I can lose more weight than Tyron because he's killing me right now. And that's all I got, man. Shout out to GIB.
Hold on, wait. You
Yes,
can
sir.
tell I'm losing weight.
Yeah, it look like it to me.
Okay, because thing is, people been telling me, and I ain't really been noticing. But okay, hey, that's what's up. I know I got on the scale the other day. That's why I noticed on the scale. I was like, oh, okay, on the scale.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, I guess I got to keep looking in the mirror. All right, okay, all right. King Dwayne.
Yeah, man. I'm just appreciative as always to be on the panel. I'm thankful to all the listeners, everybody that joined in, man. Keep joining in, keep giving this great platform, support Big John and Lord Ty, man. They need all that support, man. They need all that love. They need all that subscription, man. Let's get behind them. My biggest thing, man, my biggest concern is going to be family. The closer you get to your mortality, the more spiritual you get, and you're knocking on the door to the end. There's certain things that are just going to mean a lot to you. And that's how you know if your circle is mature or not. We keep throwing this word perfect out. I know I love Pastor said something about there's no perfect church. Where there can be. But the thing is, the definition of perfect that you're going to have to use is maturity.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be a mature church because Christ preached a mature church. That's the mark. I press toward the mark of the high calling. And Paul, went into detail and said, I'm not coming to you like I've arrived, but I am maturing. Every one of us on this earth has to mature. And sometimes we're going to make some mistakes that we got to come back to and be like, you know what? I took this and that for granted. Maturity is going to do that. Age is going to do that. Experience should do that. And I believe if we aimed toward the mastering ourselves to where we get to the perfection definition that means perfect, if we get to the part of perfect that means maturity, I think that a lot of us will fix the number one thing that absolutely must be fixed, and that's family. Because clearly it's important to God. That's why he created the mechanism in the first place. Um, I had someone say to me earlier today, I thought it was Ty, but it might have been somebody else that I talked to today that just they called me and got on the phone. They're just like, man, it's crazy how family is just whatever people call it today. You see family where it's a mother and just a child, a mother and a couple of children, same sexes going and adopting. It's just whatever you want it to be. And it's so uh contrary to what you see in the scriptures, so contrary to what the creator set this thing up to be. And the issue is that it goes back to just what Big John was talking about earlier. And what a brother said to me earlier this week is that the confusion is what comes out of the mouth of babes. Your child looking up saying, man, I just saw this such and such and this such and such go in the same bathroom. Or, man, mom and dad, what happened to y'all? Why y'all went together?
Right.
That's when you start hearing stuff like that, it's the beginning of confusion. And it doesn't matter how much you try to deny it or how much you try to go search out, I'm going to be with another man. I didn't want that man, but I had children with him though. That's the confusion. And it's the downfall. It's the destruction of God's family. It's the destruction of man. And if man and woman, especially the so-called black man and woman, if they ever going to make things work, like Ty said, man, that's going to have to be fixed. Otherwise, you can't get mad at posts like what Ty put a while ago about going to an island or whatever. Why y'all mad? Why you mad? Can you choose a brother that's flipping burgers? Can you do that? Can you choose a brother that's working here making $30,000 a year? Can you do that?
They're trying to get that
Probably
Birkin
get
bag.
yeah. You probably get some of the best love that you ever. This dude probably love you like crazy, but you worried about things.
Mm-hmm.
And the scriptures lets you know, like, why are you even worried about that stuff? You got an end that you're gonna meet. If you die tomorrow, you taking nothing with you, not a thing. People don't understand what's most important in life, and then we take these babies through this. A man could have a flat out plan for his family, and a woman could do something else, and she knows that she has the backing of government. But that's why the scriptures say the last shall be first and the first shall be last. Right now, it looks like the mothers who go and destroy these families, it looks like they winning. It looks like they first. It looks like they killing these men. You got men committing suicide now because of it. It looks like they winning, but the last, if you hold on, you're going to be first because God sees what's happening. And he's going to catapult these men first because what's happening to you is making you study and get knowledge. And next time you make a decision, it's going to be the right one.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you guys. We're gonna go ahead and shut this thing on down. Man, y'all know how I do. I gotta get my horn ready. We gotta give a shout out to my two special guests, Dr. Lionel Rush and Pastor Larry Bates. Give a shout out to Myra Cassidy and her campaign. Shout out Myra Cassidy. Give a shout out to the chat room. Let me see who we had. We had Ed, my coworker Ebony. We had Robin. Let me see, what's her name? Robin Harper. We had King Dwayne in the chat. Who else do we have up in this chat room? John was in the chat. Anthony Lopez was in the chat. Praying for you, Anthony. Shout out to all of them. We had Mr. D call in earlier. Shout out to Mr. D. Shout out to all the viewers that's viewing right now. Shout out to all the viewers that will be viewing later on in the replay. If you are new to the page, please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube page. I'm reading something Dwayne said. She'll be back with us, Dwayne, next Thursday. Myra will be with us next Thursday, so you can address her. You can address it, but we appreciate everyone tonight. We appreciate the conversation, the dialogue. It was such a great time tonight having this type of discussion, because these type of discussions are what we need as far as just, being real. Okay, no giggling, no snickering, no capping, but we being real. Sometimes the real ones are not necessarily the best conversations, but they are the ones that need to be had. Okay, people talking about the war in Ukraine and Russia, but seriously, I know it is funny. It might be a joke, but at the end of the day, as a black man, I don't really know nothing about white men. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing about them. I don't really know what going on in their bedroom. But as a black man, I know that there is war in the bedroom. And it's not the war that you are thinking of. Because some people say, well, I'm about to go to war on that pussy. No, ain't nobody going to war on no pussy. It's war even before the sex even begin. You feel what I'm saying? Before the sex even begin, it's already war. It's war of the mind. It's war of the wheels. It's war of the spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's just a constant power struggle between the black man and the black woman. And these are some things that has to be stopped in order to be able to have unity in the family. I'm just saying that's just what it's got to be. That's just what we got to do. If we talk about unity, we got to be able to bring together the black man and woman, because once we can bring together the black man and woman, bring them back together, then they can become a unit. They can become a power unit that can then help bring in other forms of unity. Come on now, pipeline to education. We can get that straight. Uh, getting young black men to straighten up their life. That can begin to happen when we begin to get that unity straight between the black man and woman in the bedroom, and holy matrimony. Understand what it really means to be in a holy. Man, y'all about to make me start back up. Y'all about to make me start back up. We already been on. We already been on for about a couple. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, to understand what real, true, holy matrimony is.
Amazing.
You see what I'm saying? Because we can't be birthing these type of guys. We don't want to birth them.
Beta.
Nah, we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to birth that. We don't want these either.
What a girl. Beta girl.
You gotta let them go. But this is the mentality that we do want to birth.
God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, and woman over children.
That's what we want to birth. Healthy relationships. So before you go to bed tonight, this is what you need to be thinking about: is healthy. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to you, Ebony. I see you. We talking about healthy relationships. Some knowing they, where you lay your head. Dwayne was talking about laying your head in the bosom. Knowing that when you lay your head in that man's bosom, that you're gonna be safe and secure. Hello, and this ain't even got to be no strong, muscular man, but this is a man that has a mind of a man, not the mind of a. Hold on, wait, where we at? Not the mind of this.
Beta.
No, we don't want that. But we want the mind of a man that has the mind of a man. How about that?
Amazing.
You know what I mean? We can't have men doing this.
You married your mama.
Come on. Why would you want to do that?
You married your mama.
Why would you want to do that? You don't want that.
Satan is your daddy.
See? You don't want that. But what you want is this.
God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, and woman over children.
That's it. God in Christ. Christ in man, man over woman, and woman over the children. Because I mean, if we really understand that family structure, that dynamic, that's unity right there in and of itself. Come on now. That's unity in and of itself. But you know how it is though. You know, that testosterone began to start kicking in, or them strong levels of estrogen, and then people began to get in their feelings and their emotions. You know what I'm saying? They begin to get in their feelings and emotions, and now you know, you get the hand on the hip, the backbone begin to slip, and then people talking about, well, you ain't my daddy. Last time I checked, my daddy, he lived on 1516 such and such street, and he don't live in this house, so therefore you can't tell me what to do. Well, sweetheart, when you married him, your daddy gave you away to him. Come on, man, you gotta look at the symbolism. If your daddy gave you away to this man, that means that you are no longer under your daddy's authority. Come on, think about it.
Satan is your daddy.
See, ever since in the garden, when the serpent was able to snake his way into your mind. Come on now, when that serpent was able to snake his way into your mind, that's why you got Jesse saying this.
Satan is your daddy.
But when you began to release that serpent, and we began to say, "No, Satan, you got to get up out of my mind. This is what you're gonna have." Oh, hold on. This is what you're gonna have.
God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, and woman over children.
That's what you're gonna have. Complete, total harmony. When you want to live a life in harmony? Come on now. How does harmony sound to you?
Amazing.
All right. I just had to just put that on your mind before we cut out of here tonight. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week. Absolutely. I totally agree, Robin R. Harper. Man must lead his family. And that's the thing. We must stick by this, you know. I mean, seriously, we really want to be something in life. We want to do something in life as a couple, as a family, as a race of people. We got to put the proper people in their prospective places. Proper people in their prospective places. Once we do that, then we are doing something. Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, it's been a joy, pleasure tonight. We ran real late, but hey, you know what I'm saying? I hope someone got something out of this tonight. I know I did. But without further ado, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and end you with a video from this past Sunday, where the IMA, Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance keynote speaker, Black History Month keynote speaker, Dr. Jamal Bryant. Peace. Be blessed.
I was speaking to some brothers a couple of months ago, speaking to some brothers from the Nation of Islam, and I told them they owe us. I need y'all to hear me well. They owe us. I stand on it. They owe us. Why? Because they don't even understand that the greatest testament of their success is built on the failure of the black church. What did you just say?
Then he took his staff in his hand, chose 5 smooth stones from the stream.
This is my season for grace and favor. This is my season. Michael, them chords gonna make somebody run around this church. Don't play them chords. Them chords gonna make somebody lose their mind. This is my season of grace and favor. This is my season to reap what I have sown.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Tyron Joe here, and I am excited to be here, and I want to be the first to welcome you to 2022 calendar year, and also Black History Month 2022. I just want to make a few quick announcements to be out of your way. One of our things for this year is be a friend and not a twin. We must seek to stop the matching of energies and to understand why things happen. Also, this year, what we're doing is having conversations with the clergy. You're not going to want to miss that. Many of you have expressed your concerns with the way the church, the modern day church, is being ran, and not just where it's being ran, but just understanding salvation. So therefore, I went on ahead and said, what we're going to do is go ahead and have some clergymen, have preachers and pastors that may be able to offer any type of help to talk to us and to walk us through some of these things. So look for that throughout the whole year 2022. At any given moment, we'll have a preacher come on and interview with us. Also, February 14th this year, got a little something special for you. One woman, one man that's not a panelist, that's not a commentator of the show, but just maybe an individual that supports the show, individual that watched the show. We would like for you to hit our inbox here at on Instagram at BZNZ Talk and let us know that you would like to go on a date. And what we're going to do, we're going to have you come onto the show, interview with us. Also, we're going to have you go out on a date, because we want you to come on the show to see if you're compatible, and then have you go out on a date and then come back and interview with us again, and switch it up a little bit. I said at first I was going to pay for the date, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to contribute a nice amount to the date. That's what I'll do. Hopefully someone will take me up on that offer. Also, merch. Get you some merch. Just tell me your size and what color t-shirt you want, and we will get that to you. Just hit up my Instagram inbox, and we will take care of you. Leave you with this, and that is to do not reason with the season, but accept it and live in it. Peace, be blessed. Peace, be blessed.
They're not ready. I see you, Brian. You might as well come on down here and join the party.